Good evening. So, as you know, this year was a vote on account come interim budget. So, interim budget is the budget which is taken the year of a election. So, since hardly 2 months have been remaining, for 2 months they have passed the vote on account. So, vote on account, as you know, the opposition also cooperates, and then no big discussion happen on this interim budget. No policy decisions are supposed to be taken because main budget is still remaining for remaining months. But interestingly, even economic survey they said will come with the main budget only. Actually, year is over and they could have come with the economic survey, but maybe they don't want to put in front all the data because the economic survey has a lot of data. Once the deputy chief minister in Maharashtra has to resign because of economic survey. You know who was he? No, he resigned because 9/11 issue. 26/11. Sorry, 9/11. You know, which chief minister resigned because of economic survey?
Recording in progress.
Mr. Ajit Dada Pawar, who was once a deputy chief minister, and what happened that economic survey of Maharashtra said that 5.51% the irrigation area in the Maharashtra was increased. At the same time, it is claimed that 53,000 crore are being spent on irrigation. Now imagine 53,000 crore spent on irrigation and only 0.51 is increased. And he was irrigation minister also. Then lot of controversy come, and he had that clarification come out as morally he said declared, and he resigned that time and from that year to today, Maharashtra's economic survey do not show the data of irrigation only. On that time, they only show the fully like nothing is shown so this way economic survey sometimes could be problematic. Opposition find it easy to catch some data, correlate two data. As presently you're saying, the Prime Minister is saying that we had a forecast in the country. Which forecast? Farmer, poor, women and youth. So poor. So that means the 10 years, if one thing has not happened suddenly, surely, that is we not got rid of poverty. Government itself admitted, no? One of the caste itself is a poverty. Plus they have said that we are going to extend this Pradhan Mantri Poshan Yojana for next 5 years. So that means not only poverty is there, but going to continue at least for 5 years until next election. So that time maybe only one caste has remained, they'll say. That is the poor. And this is the way sometimes all these data's correlationship give the very interesting thing. So budget, we'll first discuss something about budget. As this is election budget supposed to be, suppose if last budget to be, and supposed to be populist. Populist means some concessions here and there, some populist declarations, but they not done that. Exactly opposite, it was very without any sensation, nothing is there in the budget. Very straight and boring budget indeed. But the same thing was done in 2019. Nothing was there in the last budget. So maybe that's a strategy type. That's like a strategy. Especially last budget, the government is supposed to lure the middle class by increasing some tax slabs and concessions. So slightly one slab has increased from 5 lakh. The minimum income tax eligibility was increased to 7. From 5 lakh it is increased to 7. But that is long due because inflation is rising in between, and then actually technically they should adjust the tax slab every year. But just now that's a technical one thing they're done. But otherwise no changes are been done in the tax slabs also by the government. And as it is, indirect taxes are in the now field of GST council. So that are not there in the government's review. So overall what we see that related to compared to budget, the economic review they have taken is more interesting. That has some discussion. Of course, it is also mainly portray the achievements of the present government. Or one is a manifesto for the election one way, that what are the achievements in last 10 years from 2014. So as if it's like a watershed year, like 2014 they discussed. Before 2014 things were very different, and especially inefficiency was very high in the economy. And now 2014 onward we have entered into the era of efficiencies that has been discussed. So they have discussed well about what exactly the changes that have happened in the economy in last 9 years, which are completing not 10 years indeed. So what is the major change they have discussed is that the Indian economy has been sustaining its growth path, though India has faced some systemic issues like COVID, the once in the century epidemic it was. Though they call it a once in the century, actually century is not over. Still so many years have been there. But then they say no, no such thing may happen in the ahead now. So since such a difficult time has passed, India has recovered. So last 3 years we are growing by what rate they say growth rate? 7%. And in this year 7%. So continuous 4 years by 7%. Whatever take off the economy has taken post COVID, they have claimed. And then of course one may claim that a normal growth rate of Indian economy should be 8 to 9%. Developing countries should grow by 8 to 9%. But that they have said that see this is like this. This 8 to 9% is the assumption or correct idea when world economy is growing at 4%. Normally world economy grows at 4%, then India is supposed to grow by 8 and 9% normally. Presently world economy is growing by 2%. So half of what is supposed to be growth. So in that logic, suppose instead of 8%, India should grow by 4%, but still we are achieving 7%. And this is type of like a discussion they have done that how pade to bhi tang upar. That type of like idea that have been growing and not sufficiently, criticism should not be like there on the growth rate they claimed. This time they haven't discussed about V-shape or K-shape recovery, etc. Earlier they should discuss vehemently that we are recovering which way? V-shape, a strong coming back from the dungeons of the COVID period. But now they stopped because as they already established nearly that we are actually growing which way? K-shaped. So they haven't discussed that K-shaped recovery issue and the rising inequality in the income among the people. Raghuram Rajan has criticized this whole phenomenon as a premiumization of economy. So premiumization is that some people are like getting a premium in their income is going up day by day. Well, many other businesses and like a group of people are been going down on the income level. So that was not there, but of course it was been a case. And then what they say in the economic review that though these all troubles have come or the Ukraine-Russia war has started, Indian economy has been agile. So that in the dictionary meaning of agile, what does it mean by agile? The one which can come back to its shape, though it has been pressed, stretched, anything you do, still it achieves its original shape again. So that type of agility has been achieved by the Indian economy that they say. This is also COVID is one type of test of Indian economy, and Indian economy did come back and did now growing faster with it. So indeed, COVID was like a blessing in disguise. They say in what aspect? Well, of course, negative points of it and the suffering of the economy, everybody knows. In what aspect it was a blessing in disguise? Suppose we know Rafina is also that way, but how it boosted the economy other way around, or what exactly is it? But COVID period, export and import, everything suffered. Indeed, global supply chain got disrupted.
Production level.
So that is like one understanding. And then what direct impact is that or direct advantage is the digitalization of economy. What otherwise would have taken at least 50 years, 50, was achieved faster by the COVID period. It's like nearly people are forced to go digital, no? Because all touching sectors come in trouble. So obviously economy has to be touched by the non-touching sectors. And non-touching sectors has to use the digital technology. So the fast digitization of happened of the economy, internet penetration gone up, smartphones proliferated, and this way India is having now the one of the highest internet penetration in the world. Nearly more than 50% people of India has a like a connection to the internet. India is a country where the fastest implementation of a 5G has taken place. In the data cost, India is the third cheapest country in the world. In the data cost, India is the third cheapest country in the world. And this is the way what they say that what otherwise would have taken years is been achieved much faster by the Indian economy. And other thing, as you said, is another understanding that India better should become self-sufficient in many of the issues which where the supply chain issues are been seen. So they discuss in detail economic review that era of a hyper globalization is over. So what was the earlier era, especially manufacturing, was a era of a hyper globalization in which different countries are a part of a chain called as a GVC. GVC is a global value chains. Who are the main countries on the global value chain? China, US to some extent, but Taiwan, then South Korea, Japan. These are the main countries. Then they used to integrate such a way manufacturing that one part is made in one country, other part in the other country, and then join it and then make a manufacturing. So that is like a hyper globalization. Like no one product is made by one country. Simplest of simple product is divided among many countries and then production is been done. But the GVCs got disturbed in the COVID period. The whole logic of GVC collapsed in the COVID period, economically also and politically also, since COVID has shown that how China is non-transparent country and therefore not believable as such for long-term partnerships. And so it is understood that one should better go for the self-sufficiency first, then to strive for achieving the international trade. International trade will come next step after achieving the self-sufficiency. So this way, that particular understanding only brought which program in for India launched the Make in India before COVID. Atmanirbhar Bharat. So Make in India was that earlier understanding that we'll win the world. Now we understood in COVID period we should first win the India. Na? We are living to win the world, but somebody else is winning India. So that understanding is built up, and finally we decided to focus on Atmanirbhar Bharat's idea, self-sufficient India. And so what we can produce, we should produce. What we can do, we should do. And then what we can't do, that should be imported. Like it should not be other way around. That what we can do also importing, and then that we're getting unnecessarily involved into the global supply chains, and then coming in trouble when some problems come. Then whole economy get decided and troublesome. So this is the way the COVID one way proved a blessing in disguise. They haven't discussed demonetization this time, but it's past. Like now that they don't talk. Actually, that has also like been a big trouble, and that has also one very good lesson to India that we should no more depend upon the currency as a format of exchange. So even demonetization to some extent helped that we decided to shift to the other formats like UPI. The UPI got built up. It was already built up, but then it was got to speed up after the demonetization only. And India is like now a country where UPI is a very prominent system of payment transfer. And new thing is that now we are giving this UPI to multiple countries, and so Singapore recently accepted it, Britain accepted it. So even transferring from here to Britain or Singapore is also so easy that one can do it with the help of a UPI. So UPI is turning into the new architecture of payment systems in the world. And India this time is enabler country, the one who is not like recipient traditionally, but the one who is giving this technology to others. And India has already mastered it. But that one way happened because of a demonetization. So this is the way, especially digital public infrastructure, they discuss in detail, DPI. Already we discussed in separate lecture this API called DPI, digital public infrastructure. So it's idea that digitally we are been going differently from West. Technically, Apple or IBM, they already, of course, had a better software than us. But what's the difference between their approach and our approach in India? Western countries and their approach to digital technology and India's approach to digital technology, what's the difference? So this approach is old actually, not new. It's called as a techno-nationalism. Which is now applied to digital also, but it's old approach. From 80s onward in India, we have focused on this approach called as a techno-nationalism. So what's the techno-nationalism approach, you know? What is the idea? So techno-nationalism is the idea that one should become self-sufficient in the defense technology, space technology, nuclear technology, and same now digital technologies. So that is like a new avatar of nationalism in which one should be sufficient in that. We should build indigenous ideas into it. Defense is a good example. We have been building indigenous ideas from beginning, and still now we are doing it. Space is another example. Nuclear also another example. So in digital also now we never thought that everything should be done by West and then we should be only receiver of it. We should try our own, and that approach will help. So what happened? That Western approach is that it is basically a private approach. Apple has one of the best of the ideas and programs. But what is the main idea of Apple is to give the facilities to the individual or the society. Individual is focused. Individual security, privacy, that is focused by the technology by them. Private technology type. Pay the money and take the private technology. While India from beginning focused upon a public architectures like a public technology in which the masses could be involved and they could be benefited. Or indeed private we kept at secondary and public in architecture we kept as a first. So that has helped finally. They have discussed in detail that for example the Aadhaar, even Microsoft has praised the Aadhaar, the way it has been built up and been now it has become the seeding structure for every government scheme or the CoWIN app that we used in the academic. Now for Indradhanush scheme, which are using which app? Indradhanush is a vaccination of children and a mother. So there's a UWIN. There's an app called as a UWIN. So all these apps are in the public space and they are under the open source system or closed source system. Open source system. There are open application apps and not so open means any country can take it and use it or not. Yes, and they can also customize it to their use or not. Yes, India has done it and kept it open. Anybody can take it and use it. So many African countries in epidemic time did use the CoWIN, and that helped them in vaccination program. If suppose Western people have done similar things, what would have done? The closed source, and then like putting conditions, selectively giving things. So that their approach itself is different. Like their approach itself is very different. So this type of like difference in vision has been helping the economy. So how this particular DPI is helping in the growth of the economy, they're discussed in detail in the economic review, worth no reading. So they have discussed that what happened, ultimately what's the main use of DPI? It is taking governance to the people directly, eliminating the middleman, getting rid of leakages, fake beneficiaries. And this way the whole governance as the idea has become more effective or less effective? More effective. With the so many programs been directly bought under the DBT schemes, direct benefit transfer schemes. The effectiveness of governance is going up and government is increasing or decreasing? Decreasing. So while the government is decreasing, the governance is improving and that has helping the get rid of the bureaucratic channels, the long chain which increase the cost and also the corruption that is involved largely in such processes. And this is the way turning people into the beneficiaries as we discussed in the lecture. This is all beneficiary politics that has emerged with these all ideas. So old Congress ideas, the people are who? Poor. So only they are seen as a poor. Congress ka haath garibon ke saath. So that means if Congress want to sustain as a party, they should first sustain the poor, not poverty. If they want to expand as a party, they have to expand the poverty then. Otherwise, how can Congress sustain like that? Congress ka haath garibon ke saath. So now the whole narration has been changed. It was like as if being poor is achievement. Socialist ideas is like being poor is a achievement, but the present politics is not about being poor. It is being beneficiary politics. So some or other benefit has been given to every person, especially BPL, whether it could be toilet or it could be gas cylinder under the scheme, Ujjwala, or for removing say the groundwater, the solar scheme is being called Kusum. PM Kusum has been there. So then our pension scheme is there called as a small pension scheme with a small premium called as a Atal pension Yojana. For Mediclaim there is a Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Yojana for life insurance, Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Yojana for Mediclaim. These all schemes have a small premium or large premium? Very small premium. Anybody can afford. The smallest or small person can afford. And sometimes government only pay the premium. but say bringing more and more people in the social security net. And so this way we can't make all the people in India organized. Organized sector in India is very small, 8% only, and they are expanding. But at least what we can do the formalization of economy. We can't turn them to organized, but we can formalization of economy. If a person has a pension, he has a mediclaim, he has a life insurance, he has a supportive system for secondary and tertiary health called as a or secondary and tertiary health issues, which is a scheme. Now there are three type of elements: primary, secondary and tertiary is dangerous for the poor, in which there is like cancer, AIDS, hole in the heart, to diabetes or something. So for that Ayushman Bharat, Ayushman Bharat has been there like, and so all the supportive systems have been put in the field for home, which is the most ambitious scheme. Always Awas Yojana, Pradhan Mantri Rural and Pradhan Mantri Urban Awas Yojana have been there. And this way, these all schemes creating a formalization of the economy. So this way, earlier it was thought that all will be organized. So organized sector will expand, and then Congress is to promise that all will get a full-time, full-paid jobs. But that we discuss separately. That has Modi promised such things or not? No. What he said? Rozgar. Nokri nahi, rozgar dunga like. So rozgar will be there, and apart from that, formalization of the economy will happen, in which you will get some of the benefits which otherwise the salaried person get or not. Or salaried person get, he get a pension, he get a permanent fund, he get a insurance, he get a mediclaim. All these things will be given to some extent, and at least the life will be less unsecured after that, more stable, and then better opportunities will be present in front of one to expand in different direction and do the work.
Sir, why the Pradhan Mantri is in front of every scheme?
So present government is not a NDA government. It is not even a BJP government. It is a Modi government. That is very clear from first day. Ab ki baar Modi Sarkar. So then he is personality focused. Narcissism. You heard about Narcissism? There was a Greek god called as a Narcissus. What Narcissus used to do, 24 hours is to keep watching himself in mirror. How I look, how my different angles are like, how my emotions look like, how what people think about me. So we had such prime minister only. He is like a narcissist person, like in love of himself. So it's a question of political choices. Actually, this opposition should be made by the other ministers in the BJP, no? Because they are only for namesake now. It should be a teamwork. Running a government should be a teamwork. But somehow it is not been happening. It could be seen. So, on these aspects, what we can say is that beneficiary politics is one of the interesting part of this all. Like, and what economic review says that they are not only beneficiaries, they are drivers. So don't criticize us like only we are paid up people, beneficiaries, yachak. But then they are drivers. They say that once people come out of the basics, like they discuss in detail, let's say women get a basic thing like a tap water. Which scheme is there for tap water? It is very popular in rural areas nowadays, and could be another reason for if the victory come to the BJP this time in 24. Which scheme? Last time which scheme mainly become the
Ujjwala.
Ujjwala.
Ujjwala last time.
So just like last time Ujjwala, this time which scheme has that potential, Jala Jeevan Mission.
Yes.
Jala Jeevan Mission is a Har Ghar
Pani.
Pani Jal. So tap water, and it has been expanded very fast. It has been focused systematically. So what they discuss that if the women get the tap water, the lot of time gets saved of going to collect the water, because most of the rural people, women's time is to go in that only. In return, they can use that time productively for children's health or children's education or not.
Yes.
Yes, they can help invest that time in some other things, or they can invest it on themselves, improving their own health or own thing. Because otherwise, rural women in India are not able to focus on their own health ideas. So this type of things will happen. Like if the people come out of the basics, then they can understand their potential hereafter and then can start expanding that potential in different directions. And so this way, though some many of the schemes are criticized as like even Modi himself was criticizing many of the schemes by AAP and Bharatiya, that the Telangana party, as a rowdy culture. Finally, we have seen he himself has come with a which declaration? Modi ki guarantee. So Modi ki guarantee is what? Same thing, rowdy culture only. So rowdy culture is actually giving multiple schemes to the people and thereby like easing their life. So this way, as the ease of doing business is important, equally important or more than important is what? Ease of living. So after election, ease of doing business, but as election comes nearer, ease of living is most important. Ultimately, people vote on that point, whether your life become more easy or more difficult. That is how they are not correct ideologically. At least most of the Indians are not that much ideologically too much been trained, and neither they read the newspaper so much that they'll get ideologically involved so much. So ultimately, they see this particular idea that how much is the ease of life has been achieved by the present government. So on that aspect, the government says that we have been focused a lot, and so that discussion has been done in detail in the economic review. That how we have the maintenance been focus been maintained, and so long data has been given. We'll not say everything, but some of it is worth noting. So that 7% growth we already discussed, 4 years continuously. Then second point we also discussed that India not growing at 8 to 9%, but justified why it is not growing at 8 to 9%. Hyper-globalization is over, that point we have discussed, but doesn't mean that deglobalization will happen easily. Because so much symmetrically countries are joined to each other, they cannot overnight separate. So for some time they will be integrated, but surely countries are going for new ideas like onshoring and friendshoring. What is onshoring and friendshoring? So onshoring is something similar to Atmanirbhar Bharat. That is what is earlier outsourced to other countries as like services or production is now countries are trying to think of like doing on their own soil. That is onshoring as far as, or at least like India's approach in defense, that even if we want to buy the foreign missiles, what is our approach now? Produce in India, make it on Indian soil, because ultimately we can't force them to transfer the technology. As Rafael agreed to transfer technology or not? No, they never agreed. So they may not transfer. So they may not transfer, but what we can force them at least or convince them? Produce in India, no? At least produce in India. That is onshoring that we can try. So we can promote more Indian companies, and if foreign, at least tell them to produce in India. And second is a friendshoring. So suppose it's not possible to produce in India, but at least produce in a friendly country where supplies will be guaranteed. Because COVID period, that is the biggest issue we faced. Supplies got disrupted and the economy suffered. So at least friendshoring should happen. And of course, friendshoring will be nearby countries who are like friendly to us. So first option is onshoring, and second option is friendshoring. And to say the globalization is reshaping itself or not? It has been reshaping itself. It is not getting over immediately. We're not talking about deglobalization, but it's reshaping itself. It has also been true. That has been discussed in the review. So alternate supply chains. Every country, so China plus one. US has a famous policy called China plus. So what is this plus one? Plus one is any other supply country. So we should not fully depend on only China as a supplier. We should create an alternative supply also. So that if some problem comes with the China, any reason, then we should have alternative supply ready like. And so just like US has declared policy China plus one, we should have, we are not declared, but indirectly we are searching for similar ideas that creating alternatives of supplies. Then exporting one's way to growth will not be easy. So what just 20 years back I thought what is the simple formula of growth, prosperity, export. That was like a simple straight formula: export, prosper, become rich. But now what they say is that exporting one who go to the glory is not easy now. Why not easy? As India has said to Atmanirbhar Bharat, every country has similar policies, no? So that way, we are not exactly deglobalized completely, but going toward that direction, and less recipient people or countries are recipient about to now imports. They're adverse to this idea of imports now. So that way, what we have to depend now are more on exports market or domestic market. Domestic market. We have to make domestic market stronger and build on it. And the old idea of like depending on the export market is no more valid now. That has been discussed by them. So in return, if domestic market, then we have to first work on logistics cost. Internally, we had high logistic cost. Sometimes it is easy to import. You know, the coal factories import the coal from Australia, but don't take it from Jharkhand. Why? It is easy to bring from Australia, but to bring from Jharkhand. Now that's like a tragedy. One can say like, how can something be easy from Australia but not from? But that is the reality. Logistical cost is very very high. No separate corridors are been there, freight corridors. So in return, the companies go for that such a choices. So here in Atmanirbhar Bharat, Atmanirbhar export import, we should like not import anything which we can supply in the country itself. Say coal is available in India or not? Next 400 years it will be sufficient. So much coal has been there. Why are you importing coal? Very interestingly, India is a big importer of coal. So one should export, suppose logically, but suppose don't not able to export, but at least don't import, no? So what is the main problem? Is the logistics. So if logistics is suffering, one has to work on that. So which policy declared? National Logistics Policy, first time after independence. Which year? 22. In 1922, government first time declared a national logistics. So 2022. Just now. And then what the logistics policy said that will bring the logistic cost in a single digit. At present it is around 13% of GDP. 1.3, so high. So single digit means below 10. And so a full-fledged strategy has been like talked about logistic policy. One of the important part is the logistical parks. Government has planned to build a logistical park. So what they will do? Logistical parks. No, that's like freight lines, etc. Separate of course. Logistical parks. What will be the logistical park?
Storage capacity,
So storage capacity, and apart from that, main part is
supply.
convergence. Convergence is the idea that shifting from road to air, air to railway, railway to port, all should connect at one place, and there should be the convergence possible. Presently, we haven't thought of any such convergence ideas. So railway station is one place, airport is different place, and the road ends at some other place. Then the convergence is not possible. Then the cost go up, the handling time go up. So all these things has to be thought about. And as it is, we are building infrastructure in a big way. We have to think of convergence systematically. Otherwise, we will not get a full advantage of a infrastructure that we are building. It will go into losses actually, because infrastructure has that particular risk that you may build it at very high cost, but it may not give the sufficient returns. One has to think of this convergence ideas properly. So this particular so internal, so domestic market, I have got the strategy that we can't depend upon an export market for the growth. So better you look at the domestic market, and domestic market logistics cost and invest in product quality to hold on and expand the market share in the areas where India has advantage. So product quality has to be focused because India traditionally do not have high emphasis on a quality aspect, and that has made India suffer in the competition with the foreign goods and not able to build up the export market for its own goods. So focus on quality. Quality should be the creed hereafter. Some other issues they discussed. Advent of artificial intelligence has both trouble and opportunity. What trouble? 40% jobs in next 10 years. May go. The present 40% jobs in next 10 years will be no more there. So much is the potential of AI. AI has a lot of potential. Even computerization took over the jobs, but slowly. Computerization mainly work on speed as aspect, speed and memory. But here, speed and memory plus now human capabilities like understanding how the human thinks, are responding that way. So that way, in the era of AI, if you want to recreate the jobs and sustain the economy as employment, then what one should do? How to sustain this particular AI issue? AI, more manual jobs will go, or more high like payment jobs will go. High payment jobs will go more. Those who work in such type of like software coding, they are going to more suffer from the AI. The Jhadu wala is going to suffer or not? No, will not suffer. Like there's no issue for them. But those who are having the more intellectual type of jobs, they're going to suffer. What India should do if we want to like not only survive in this wave of AI, but ride it. Hmm? Every segment is going to be touched by AI. The 40% means every segment. That's like case. Baking? No, that's a good argument for computerization, but computerization took over the job slowly and created new, and then they also gone and next come and this way. Here AI is so fast, it anticipated the next 5 type of jobs and take them over directly. So what happened? AI has one limitation. The feed to the AI is existing things only are fed in the AI. So all existing thing it can immediately do. Immediately think, immediately respond. So that is going to survive the AI, then what do you do? Innovation. What?
Yes.
So innovative thing if you are doing, normal coding they can do, but what has already been done, they can also improvise and do. But totally new thing you are doing, innovation, then that's not a capacity of a AI. So in the written good, until now our mindset is built on the copy technologies. Control C, Control V, India's favorite idea. So now AI is a good opportunity that we should give up that mindset and promote the originality, turning India into the knowledge economy. So knowledge economy is like a one who worked upon the information and process it into the knowledge. And ultimately knowledge lead to the innovation. Ultimately knowledge lead to the innovation. So presently we are in the information age. Only information is coming super 2 GB, 2.5 GB daily. But it's not turning fast into the knowledge. Indeed, we have been facing the disinformomics, a type of epidemic in which wrong information, misleading information keeps spreading faster than the real and good information. Mhm. WhatsApp in your cities. So indeed, that is another issue. But then fully like understanding what the information can do, then turning that into the processing and turn into knowledge, and then knowledge should lead to the innovation. And this all should be taught from which side time? School. So that means whole approach of teaching and learning should be changed or remain same? Should change. It can't be traditional anymore now. If it is traditional, then first of all you will not get jobs only. Your traditional approach will not give you jobs only. So that again, that is the US decade. If anything 20s whole decade to be watched about and most interesting development India will go through is which one? NEP, the National Education Policies of this decade. How the NEP unrolls, how it get implemented, and theoretically it has a potential to launch India into this new world where the learning and thinking process will be totally same or different? Different. NEP has a totally different way of looking at the whole process of learning and thinking. But of course, it all depend upon the usual thing like implementation. How much if we implement NEP as a traditional model of education, then over then nothing will happen. But if we take it in the full spirit and implement, then we can ride actually the way of AI. And cultural potential has been there to come with the innovation. China has that more potential. India has more potential. India.
India has.
Why no? Mhm. No, that's one thing. But then cultural diversity is more in India or in China? India. China has a relatively less diversity. No, there, but not so much high, like as India is clearly and so much. Then second is that China is been open economy but close polity. So in return, beyond one particular limit, discussion is not allowed. Like everything is censored in China. India is like a fortunately open polity, and so churning of ideas is possible or not?
Yes.
Yes, churning of ideas is possible, and more the churning happen, exchange happen, the ideas flourish. So that way, India can ride this AI wave, and we should actually start looking for that way. We should looking it as a trouble or the disruptor. We should look at it as opportunity that they are discussed in the review. Mhm. So cost of competitiveness is like going to be reduced with the AI. Then energy transition challenge. Another important discussion that done is the energy transition challenge, and very important discussion. In that is the India has been like not been industrialized yet fully. Indeed, India is getting deindustrialized to some extent. You know what the deindustrialization means? India is actually getting deindustrialized. What do you mean by that? That is the share of a service sector in the GDP is going up. So that means the share of a manufacturing is reducing. So that is a theme called as a deindustrialization. So that way, at least numerically, India is getting deindustrialized. And most interesting fact is that if you see the definition of industrialization, only two states have just reached to the level of industrialization. Which two states? Maharashtra and Gujarat. No other state in India can really claim to have reached to the level of industrialization, and they have also just reached. They are not like much high into it. And then some states like Bihar or Jharkhand or Madhya Pradesh also have never gone through industrialization, and even they are getting deindustrialized. So very interestingly, before getting industrialized, India is getting deindustrialized. Shall we take it as some achievement?
No.
No, it's a failure. How can we be deindustrialized before industrialized? So in short, what happens? Service sector is going up, but that's like a one-way problem. That means we are being satisfied with what is we are getting through. That service sector is like luck that we got the big business, and even after that also it is hardly 5% of the global services. We are not able to capture all the markets there. But in return, now what is the idea that since India not industrialized, now what opportunities front of us is that old industrialization happened with the CI, that is combustion engine technology. That was the heart of the old industrialization. Shall we have to go that way only now?
No.
Not necessary. What we can have option?
IT.
Electronic, digital ideas, and no need to go by the traditional mechanical ideas of a CI. And this is the way, this is the opportunity India has now. We can just bypass what they have done. Instead of following them, we can just bypass and totally build a new formula or model for the industrialization. No? So green technologies. India should better focus on. So green technology include all those which can reduce the existing emissions, adapt with the changing climate ideas. Tesla is a good example. How they have shifted to the, and then what Mercedes and IBM, BMW should think that anybody who come in the competition will take at least 100 years to reach up to us, 150 years. Why? Because so many years they're working, no? And then Tesla not only reached but overtaken them. How? Bypassed. Technological disruption. One of the interesting idea today is the technological disruption, in which no need to like go in the traditional way. You can just bypass the traditional way and go differently like that. So that India has a big opportunity. The review has said. So what we can do indeed can focus on for industrialization on green technologies, and then can become the leader in the green technologies. Old technology, who are the leader? Western countries. And old technology means then we have to like take from them only. Bhilai, Bokar or Rourkela, Durgapur. All these plants are imported or indigenous? Imported. They give second or third hand plant at a price of more than first hand. And then we purchased it. Maintenance, we paid huge money for that. So we have gone, that time we don't have option. But today we had option or not? Yes, we did have an option, and we can go for industrialization very differently now. And indeed we can lead the new way. Will these Western countries go for this new idea? They will not. Why they will not? It is like taking U-turn from what they achieved already. So they can't shift because they have gone far ahead. India has not gone far ahead, then that's also advantages. It's the right time to take a U-turn and not go on the traditional industrialization, and to totally go for new industrialization model that we can work. And therefore, India is aggressively following the Paris Agreement or not? Is it that only that we are like so much interested in nature? Is it that? That's not exactly the case. Ultimately, it's a business or not? It's a business. Ultimately, if you lead this route, if you lead the green technologies, then India is going to have a lot of export potential. India lead the pack of emerging and underdeveloped countries. They look Indian model as a ideal to follow, and then finally they import from things from India. No? Once upon a time, import from the developed countries. Same way they import from India, and this is the way. It's a full strategy indeed. It's like a full strategy. In return, of course, we are also achieving the energy efficiency and reducing the carbon emissions. But it's a trade-off they had discussed. In the short run, there is a trade-off between the economic growth and energy transition. What to focus on? If you focus on energy transition and shift to the non-traditional sources, then your growth may get hampered. If you focus on growth, then India is one of the most polluting country in the world. One of the three polluting countries in the world today is, though per capita emissions are low, but still overall we are one of the. So short term there are trade-off, but in long term, are they opposite to each other? These ideas, energy transition and economic growth? No, they're perfectly complementary. Short term is a trade-off. That means we have to keep discussing, keep worrying what to do, and we get caught of this or that type. And Manmohan Singh time the biggest debate would come: environment versus development. So big debated. One speech finally declared that environment cannot be excuse to become hurdle of a development. So as if both are opposite to each other, and if one to be achieved, then second can't be adhered to. So we have gone through long debate and trouble, but finally we are settled or not? We are settled. And what we understood is that are they opposite to each other? They are not. Indeed, they go hand in hand. And we had a big opportunity to create a new development model of our own, in which the world will be tomorrow. China has taken which choice? The European choice only. Combustion engine and the polluting model. And so they are the biggest polluter in the world today. And again, they have gone so ahead that they can't take a U-turn now. So here we had an opportunity which even China don't have. Generally, otherwise every time China has been doing something and then we are just following. But here this is an opportunity that what China has not done, we can do now. So this opportunity will be discussed in the review. Presently, as you know, there are when we talk of a development, there are two aspects of development: the physical aspect and a human aspect. So review says that clearly the government of India is focusing on which aspect more presently? Physical. They can't also make a claim that India has been focusing on human. It's not that they have reduced the spending on education, but rather they have increased it. It's paid 2.9%. That's all. So 2.9% is not even half of what is supposed to be spent on education. That is the 6%. So government is not changing the spending on education as such and so, but physical infrastructure, yes, they are taking too much interest into the the expansion of a physical infrastructure has been focused by the government, and that is the idea that once that is achieved, even the human infrastructure will follow. Automatically, the cost of human infrastructure will come down, and a lot of opportunities may open up in that. So, what is the focus of government is that earlier India has been criticized the island of potentials, our opportunities. Each village is like island. There is a lot of potential, a lot of dreams, billion dreams India has, but being sitting on island type, no connected to the world. If it is not connected to the world, then dreams remain dreams only. They never come into the reality. So how to finish the islandic nature of economy? How to finish this islandic nature? Island means island types.
Shifting to
Connectivity,
yes,
infrastructure in terms of highways, ports, roads, broadband network. For everything we had a scheme now. For air connectivity we scheme, Udan. For connecting ports, which is the scheme, Sagarmala. For building bridges, flyovers, and connecting the rural areas, we had a Bharatmala scheme is also there. So many Mala schemes have been there, connecting ideas. So government has been focusing on them aggressively. Government has been focusing on them aggressively. So earlier the speed of making highway was hardly 20 kilometer a day. It's taken to only 120 kilometer a day. Such a high. So frantically that Himalaya said enough, so why so fast? Silk era episode, maybe too much fast. And then somehow environment is not been given. So EI has been done of this project or not, Chardham. Char Dham project. This is the episode happened. So EI has been done or not?
Yes.
Let's see. There is a rule that if any project, road project is length is above 100 kilometer, then EI is compulsory. Environmental impact assessment is compulsory. The Char Dham is of 889 kilometer. Char Dham project is of 889 kilometer. So that means, of course, this come under the purview of EI. What government done? It divided the project in 53 projects. So this road is this road only, and nothing to do with this road. And this road is this road, nothing to do with this. Actually, it is one road only, no? But they divided this whole project in 53 projects, and each road was shown less than 100. And this is the way EI is not done. Now, then this is the problem. If EI is not done, then that means the life of those people is brought in trouble. Isn't it? Somebody's life you are doing with progress of country, like somebody has to sacrifice for somebody else. That type of. Ultimately, fortunately, nobody died, and rat hole mining people saved them. Those are banned. These banned people, illegal people, gone and saved them. Finally, big machine not able to do anything. So, this type of sacrifice is expected or not? No, this old languages before 91 socialism just always say that to keep sacrificing for better future. Now, why we should sacrifice first of all? Like, if sacrificing for future, then why presently we are been suffering? And then what's the guarantee that future you will get a return? So this type of logic is not correct. One should follow the environmental norms and nothing opposite like. And one should not go so frantically. Actually, discuss that Himachalan tourism, like Himalaya tourism, is that one way get a heaven, one go to Himalaya, and get a lot of punya. When only when you actually travel and scale the heights in difficult situation. If you go sit in the car, luxury car, and directly reach through highway, you do not get any punya. Like how can that be there? Like, and this whole idea is not correct actually of going so fast. So environment, of course, is been core point they have discussed hereafter. So infrastructure development has been happening frantically. So capital investment is been focused by the capex. So capex is the capital investments. So if any particular thing getting a highest share in the budget last 2-3 years is from COVID onward. COVID onward years, capital expenditure is given a highest share. In COVID period also they focused on that only. Ultimately, this capital expenditure will build the capacities in the economy, larger capacities, and that will help the economy to move faster, high speed. They think. Relative in COVID period, if you know, the Western economy has gone for the consumption expenditure more. Germany gave the money in the hand of people to go to hoteling. Britain not exactly gave the money, but said that bills will be 50% only. You go to any hotel and eat, 50% bill. Who will pay remaining 50? Government. Such an interesting scheme. Khao piyo maza karo. Has government of India launched this of thing? Nothing of that. Only thali bajao, ghanta bajao, or like that type of thing are there. But nothing beyond that. But one way what they say is a strategy actually, because that consumption expenditure created a inflationary trends in these countries. Recently, everybody of them gone through 10 or 12% inflations, and economy got decided. Relatively in India, inflation has been in control. And opportunity in India, we had a scarce resources. It is better we should spend on capital expenditure or revenue expenditure. Capital expenditure, because capital expenditure, like a long-term economic structure get changed. So that focus has been maintained. So highways, freight corridors, airports, metro rail network, trans-sea links. So the ramp up of physical and digital infrastructure in the last 10 years is real, tangible, and transformative. So it will create a transformative abilities in the economy. So reform, perform, and transform. Present like a generation, we had 2 generation reforms are there. 4 generation reforms and 2nd generation reform. So what started in 1991 is called as a 1st generation reforms. It's a reform process in which we have gone for removing the negative constraints in the economy. What are negative constraints like a license Raj? So delicensing, deregulation, decontrol, debureaucratization, depoliticization, all such type of ideas have been implemented. So first 20 years focus on that, and now next 20 years is a transform. So reform, perform, and transform. So now creating a legal and institutional reforms, creating a legal and institutional reforms, and thereby building the capacities in the economy to grow faster, which is earlier not there. And so we are in the second phase. So accordingly, it has been going on. They said some other things is that, as you know, Jan Dhan Yojana is one of the flagship scheme of the government. Total deposit of 2.1 lakh crore has been bought into it. Over 55% of the account holder are women, and two-thirds of the accounts are opened in the semi-urban or rural areas. So Jan Dhan is a big hit, government claims. So Jan Dhan is a step towards the financial inclusion. Inclusive growth is our credo. Financial inclusion, and ultimately we want to achieve the total banking. What is total banking? Each one should have a bank account. Each one should have a bank account. So we are going toward that particular direction. And Jan Dhan we discuss, I think how much minimum balance is required? Zero minimum balance, like no punishment or no penalty for that. So technically anyone can open a Jan Dhan account. Institutional births are grown in the economy. They said. One of the big achievement of the present government we discussed is maintaining the inflation rate low. That we discussed. So as you know, the last 2 years of Manmohan Singh's government become ill famous because of the high inflation rate. Common people suffered a lot. So maybe taking lessons from that, Narendra Modi government is like concerned. One most thing about is the inflation. Last 10 years, surely they have kept the inflation in control, like not allowed the inflation to grow. Last year, this potential is there because of this Ukraine-Russia war and disruption in the supplies of food grain as well as oil. And now again this Hamas, Israel issues, like again issues are been there. But still, RBI managed the show very well, increased the repo rate continuously, and kept the inflation within a band. What is the band? 2 to 6. Minimum 2, maximum 6. And so it should be around 4. Suppose normal economy should be around 4. But within a band of 2 to 4, band has been there. So RBI was able to manage to keep the inflation within that band in such difficult time. Of course, some advantages India got is that oil could have been a big trouble. But India now we are getting a cheaper oil from which country? Russia. Now biggest importer India is now, India imports highest oil from Russia now. So that advantage of course we got, and that's the advantage of which policy we had traditional following. Now policy in sitting in the middle of the all countries and not making like permanent grouping with anybody. So that has benefited us. Russia, we are importing crude oil and exporting to the Western countries presently. And so we are sitting in the middle exactly of both the groups. Foreign exchange has expanded or not? Yes. Now we had a very high, historically high, nearly $600 billion forex reserve. And with that, it has given like a deep reserves for India now, and stability to the exchange rate. Relatively, exchange rate has stabilized now. Volatility has declined. Earlier, if the forex used to get reduced, immediately the uncertainty is seen in the exchange rate. Rupee dollar, mainly we see in terms of rupee dollar. Of course, separately it is seen with all other currencies also, but mainly with rupee dollar. Again, there is a range. It is called as a dirty peg. So dirty peg is a range the RBI has decided to maintain the currency rate vis-a-vis dollar. But like inflation rate, they haven't declared any time the dirty rate, dirty peg. That is how, what exactly is the range? That is in the mind of a RBI. If the rupee to dollar rate is going below it or above it, then RBI get active and seen to it that the rate below in that particular range. And this is the way we are been able to maintain that also. So inflation also domestically been maintained, and even the exchange rate is also been maintained. Forex reserves are sufficiently high. That's a big advantage India is getting. One of the important thing India is getting is the remittances now, $125 billion. So we have far surpassed now China and other countries now. India already in years now getting highest such of remittances, and now Jaishankar says that Indians going outside is our strength. Brain drain is our strength. Once upon a time, brain drain is like a criticism, but now actually it's a strength in multiple ways. not only from money aspect but relationship aspect, attracting investment aspect, and creating opportunities domestically. Some people go outside here, cultural spirit, soft diplomacy. So even that soft power, India has the potential to become soft power. These people can play the key role in that. And this is the way the advantages in some aspects have helped the India to keep all the major rates stable. Inflation is stable relatively. Western countries not able to control that, and therefore their growth rate declined, and they suffered. But India is able to maintain that. Even the dollar rate especially remain stable in this period. About a current account deficit remain within 1%. Current account deficit is always there, but within 1%. While the exports remain good, imports are declined. Imports are declined. One main reason is Atmanirbhar Bharat is helping to build up the domestic capacities, and need for imports are coming down to some extent. And this is the way, since the imports are declined, the current account deficit is just 1% of GDP. So within a control, and same time the investments in the India FDI has been going on. So that way we can cover this current account deficit or not. Yes, traditional problem of CAD is now not a big issue now for India. Through the capital inflows, we can cover the CAD easily. Ultimately, CAD should not be there is of course a goal. But then at a CAD also main issue is oil. If you remove the oil, then we are exports more, imports more. Then we are exports more actually. We already been export surplus except oil. So oil is okay. Oil is like natural product, and we don't have any immediate alternative to the oil until we focus properly on the renewable source of energy. So all major indicators are kept intact, and that is really definitely one of the achievement. And that is a political idea also, because then as we discussed, Manmohan Singh not suffered only from image. Economic handling also come in trouble. And ironically, he was an economist. And then the inflation management not happen, then obviously become the criticism. So these are the achievements, they say. So it's a journey from fragility to stability and strength. So criticism of Manmohan Singh, then fragility to strength and stability. The techno-nationalism aspect we discussed already. Garib Kalyan Yojana also we discussed to the 80 crore of people and now expanded. About his infrastructure, we discussed that 74 airports in first 67 years and doubled in the last 9 years. So frantically, we are expanding the airport network in the country. Udan being a mover, like a game changer into it. Universities also expanded from 723 to 1113. So before being abolished, the 12th 5-year plan also kept the aim of creating 500 universities, new 500 universities. So that is nearly been achieved from 700 to the 1113. So, but of course, what I seen is that it's less about new universities. What they're doing,
Deemed
existing
existing colleges,
institutions are declared as a
deemed
university, deemed or university normal. Deemed is an in between idea, but now university is only directly. But that actually what is the problem? The university requires some type of like a research facilities, particular amount of campus. But many times one institution declares university doesn't serve the purpose. So only we are creating, then one way it could be the idea of just like allowing them to have their own fee structure there. Positively, university is there, then they can create their own course structure.
Yes.
That is positive. Negative is that they can keep their own fee structure, and government's control over them reduces in that case. So let's see which way we go. More girls are now in higher education than boys. That is one of the interesting achievement. When there, overall the gross enrollment ratio of girls is increasing in the India, especially in higher education now. It has been improved drastically. Apart from other important thing is that a 50-year interest-free loan being given to the states of 1 lakh crore. States are not having the capacity to build up the big infrastructure. So many states infrastructure projects are not done or what have been created lagging like. So what central government done? Come with the aggressive policy of a 1 lakh crore fund for interest-free loans to the states for building infrastructure projects. Since it become hit policy popular, they have again built such fund of a 1.3 lakh crore now. Since the first got famous or popular, another fund is created now 1.3 lakh crore.
So then this
Mhm.
type of funds are allowed for state government. Then why the state government has to take from other countries such as Japan?
No, state government directly can't take until center permits.
Okay.
State governments in India can't take anything from any country.
Was that Harbour Link road issue has been brought up by
Which one? Which one?
Harbour Link
No, no.
Trans due to toll.
We do take like project finances from the
Other countries.
other countries. So it's a project finance basically taken from Japan has one agency called JICA, government agency only. Through them they finance such projects. So we have been taking from the sewage treatments, transportation, to a number of things from foreign. But then central government's approval is required. This 1 lakh crore is not sufficient for a country like India. It is a good scheme,
Yes.
but then this is one of the things. Other alternatives are also be seen.
1 lakh crore to all states.
Now, any state can show the project that this project want to do. Center approves, take it, and then whatever loan you take.
1 lakh crore to one state.
No. Overall fund. Overall fund is the 1 lakh until it gets over. This is not grant. Grant is the idea. Then you give the money, and don't expect it to be returned. Neither interest is there. That's a grant. Here it's a loan. There's a difference between grant and loan. So loan will be recovered or not, and with interest. But here it's a loan without interest free. But they have to pay back the principal. States has to pay back the principal. Of course, if you take from Japan, they charge something like 0.89%, etc.
Yes.
or 0.75. So if government is giving 1%, 0%, then that's like it's competing with Japan one way, because they also charge so low interest.
It is for 50 years, no interest free.
50 years, because infrastructure projects long term, no. So until you give such type of facility, they can't actually build a. Suppose you give only for 5 years. The 5 years will just to make a build it. When the recovery will happen, the recovery take long time. Samruddhi Highway is a good example. Samruddhi Highway, can they like quadruple the toll to just recover the investments? The huge investment is there in Samruddhi Highway. It will take years to recover. No? It can't suddenly recover like it will take time. Metro projects also. In all infrastructure projects, this is a long gestation period. Infrastructure project, this is a long gestation period is a big issue. So gestation period is a period to deliver the fruits or returns from the time it has started. So these projects give had a long gestation period. They take time to give the fruits.
But 50 years, is it correct? 50 years interest free.
50 years is generally a good idea. They'll create, operate, recover some good returns, and then give money back to the government. And the return, government assets, they also get a return around 3%. Government also get returns, but around 3% only. Private expect 30%. Government get, but 3%, and here the interest is 0. So that way it's a good opportunity, no? That way state will earn actually from the projects. If they properly manage it, build it on time, manage it properly, then actually they will earn. So 3% they will earn and pay back 0%, and then principal of course they have to pay back. No, it depend upon the resources. Suppose now resources of state, then it's a project of a state and state finance it, and state only get whatever they want. No, now here states projects, but finance is given by the center. No profit, it's a loan, no. Profit is a different idea. Profit is that you're an equal stakeholder. Then maybe you have to share the profit. But here it's a loan given. So loan is the interest, and interest is not there. That's all. Profit, there is no question. Whether state make a profit loss is not a concern of a center in this case. It's like sponsored to the states. What they want to do, they can do.
So any big highway like Samruddhi Highway or any big highway, they are sponsored by the center only. You don't run by the state.
No. Samruddhi Highway is by state. State, Maharashtra state for many years not done any major project. But finally, Samruddhi has been like one of the major project has been built up. So there is more such project required for next growth of the economy, because the economy has become stagnant then without any major project. Because other you can't things in doing talks in air, no? You require some connections. Then only new opportunities build up. So Samruddhi is a good example. Even the land acquisition is more done peacefully, and a good model has been built up for land acquisition. So same model could be imitated in other projects also, and one can do the land acquisition, because that is one of the most difficult thing. But ultimately it is possible. there are answers to the issues, but then for that center support is also required because Indian states are starved of finances. They don't have much. So therefore, if you see the Maharashtra state budget, very few people see. I see sometimes they talk about a 50 lakh rupees for development of religious tourism, and they announce it very happily. Now even 50 lakh, and they're announcing it, and even in their budget they give it bold 50 lakh rupees for Python, 50 lakh rupees for Pandharpur. Even what is 50 lakh? You catch any of your class one officer, he will be having more than that with him, like he can finance. But this is how state claims that they don't have any finances only. They say that they don't have any finances, and in return they can't do any project until they take a loan. So ultimately, any state of India, if they want to do for development, that means they have to take loan. So development and loan is together only. There is no other option, they say. Or anybody say don't take a loan, then that means you're against development. So that is like a logic, they say. Some other thing is that
What is that? IBC.
IBC.
where it is?
So it's the 50-year interest.
50 years interest.
IBC has improved the business.
IBC is a insolvency and bankruptcy code. There's an important law been passed in 2016 because a lot of NPAs are been accumulated with the public sector banks, and they hampered the new credit to be given to the businesses. The new credit every year given by the bank is called as a credit pulse. Pulse is like a credit pulse, new credit. Old credits are too much, but that is accumulated and not been coming back. And so the whole business environment in India come in trouble. So it's called a double balance sheet problem. It's called a double balance sheet problem. That sometimes corporates are in trouble, at least banks support them. Banks are in good thing. Sometimes banks are in trouble, but corporates are doing good profits, and ultimately banks also recover. But what India suffered from is called the double balance sheet. Corporates are also in losses, and banks are more losses like. And so this way the whole environment becomes vicious. So India then finally they had discussed turn this again trouble into a opportunity. What opportunity? What are done? So many then different methods are done for recovery, and such things should not happen again. So bad bank is created. Many of such type of non-performing assets are being transferred to that. Other thing is IBC. IBC is very important development. That is the insolvency and bankruptcy code. So in this code, whole procedure has been like written down. Whom to recover, how to recover, and whom to pay back first, second, third. Because earlier it was not so much clear. Every time dispute court, judges has to like keep thinking what to do, n number of things. So now IBC process has been declared. There are insolvency professionals who will advise this whole idea, and within how many days it should happen? 180 days, time bound, 180 days, 6 months. Of course, it's not been happening that way for some or other reason. It's taking more than a year, but still more than a year. Earlier, it's take decades. So now exit become easier or difficult? Easy. Exit is required because some honest businessman also may not able to run the business. So he should be honorable exit, no? So exit become possible, and new people can come in, and they can do the business. They can take properties in the hand and opportunities. And this is the way the exit made easy with this idea. And overall, what has been done with the banks? So much losses they have made. So best time to what, which otherwise not possible, consolidate them. 20 different banks, same business, but different brands. So what exactly is the logic? Nobody knew. State Bank of India, other side of road, Bank of India. Bank of Maharashtra, third side. Next floor, Dena Bank. Now, why they're competing with each other? Who knew? Like, because who is the owner of all of them? Government only. And then suppose Canara Bank made a business defeating the SBI. What's exactly logic? Owner is one only. Then why you are being playing with so many players at a time in the business? So finally, these 20 banks are turned into 12. And they are merged into each other, and now only 12 banks are been kept. All these banks having losses are forced to close down their foreign branches. Most of them are running a foreign. A foreign branches is a logic. If you are doing good business in domestically, the next progress you go to and do the business. So you are doing not business properly here. Why are you going outside, na? So that is also been forced, and then this way a lot of things. So otherwise, normal times, Indianism is very strong in banking, and they would have opposed all the changes. But government chose a perfect time for changes. What is it? High NPAs. So if they say anything, NPS. ठीक है, तुम चुप बैठो, तुमने NPA किए थे रे, तुमने डुबाया देश को है रे. So then what they say like, so this way exactly perfect timing for reforms, and most of the reforms are being done, and interestingly now these banks are in profit. The turnaround has happened, and the banking sector has come in the profit now. In return now, they are in the position to finance the corporates. Extend the new loans, credit pulse has now improved, and that has given normalization. But some lessons to be learned from what past happened in the past. One thing happened is that time one of the whole NPA problem come because it was thought logic that who should finance the infrastructure projects? Banking. So government should tell the banks, finance them like that. Was that a correct logic or not? Totally wrong logic. Why? What's the reason, Simple idea that there is an asset liability mismatch issue. That what happened that what is the liability for the bank is the deposits collected. Most of the Indians keep a deposit for hardly 1 year. Then they renew it, but 1 year. Some people keep for 2 years, some people keep for 3 years, and max 5 years. No particular person in India keep a fixed deposit more than 5 years. So now bank can give the loan for max how much period then? 5 years, and no infrastructure project serious is possible to be completed in 5 years. In short, our banks are the right institutions to finance the infrastructure. How come they're taking deposit for 1 year and lending for 20 years? What type of business it is like? This is all complete asset management, asset liability mismatch. You're taking deposit for 1 year and lending it for 20 years. In between, the deposit holder came back to withdraw deposit and say, "Oh, you come back." आम्हाला वाटलं येणार नाही म्हणजे करूयात आपण काहीतरी करूयात तुला करूयात काय करूयात आय वॉन्ट माय मनी and in infrastructure project it is not recovered immediately. No supply they got into NPS. And apart from that, are the banking people trained into lending for infrastructure projects? They're not lend only, they are trained for what? Home loan, car loan. No, this is all retail bank, personal loan. This is the banking. No? So what they're trained into and what you're telling them to do is totally different. So now this is a lesson. Is banking sector there for financing infrastructure? No, that is not the way. What is the best method to build up infrastructure finance? Bond market. World over, the bond markets are used. So it's a part of debt market. Bonds are issued for longer term, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years, 50 years, 100 years. So Reliance has issued the 100 years bond. So in bond market, you give the promise that at this much interest rate will give, say 50 years bond. After 50 years, principal and the interest will be given, like, or interest will be given periodically and principal will be written after 50 years. This bond market, what's the advantage? Is that clearly people know whom they are lending. What exactly is the project? Who is doing it? In banking case, people are depositing the money in bank but don't know whom they are lending. No? They're just depositing the money. They don't know whom our bank is lending exactly. Here directly things happen. व्यवहार directly होता है ना. किसको lend किया है, किस लिए किया है, what is the rating of that particular bond? No, rating system is compulsory. The rating of the bond should be there, like, and accordingly, people decide whether to give the investments or not. So it's a bond market has to be developed, and then that SEBI has worked hard in between to develop the bond market in India, and SEBI finally has now come with the rule that any company there in the stock market in India has to collect 25% of their capital by which method? Bond market rule finally. So 25% of the capital should come from the debt market, that is bond especially. So debt markets, what's the advantage? That suppose somebody has taken 100% of the capital from the equity market. Now what's the issue? Equity people, investors are all dreamy people. They all live in dreams type. इतने का इतना होगा उतना होने वाला है ना. While those who are like in the debt market, they are more practical. इतना दिया है उसका इतना interest मिलना चाहिए ना. Interest no? They are not interested in the profit sharing. They just want an interest which is fixed, irrespective whether company makes the profit and loss. So who asks the sharper questions? Equity shareholders or bond holders? Bond holders ask the sharp questions. Why you done this? Whose money it is? Our money. Why you done this? That way, like risky things. Equity shareholders start dancing in hard ones only. Something is going to happen, they think. So this type of like, so that shows that to balance the whole game in the corporate world, some money should come from whom? Debt market. And then a proper control remain. You take all equity, then it become, we have seen so many companies who are irresponsible. And especially what happened nowadays is the trend that owners only bring the company in trouble. systematically they divert their funds to other companies, etc., other countries, and then they systematically doom the company. Frauds they do. Internal scam is called as a fraud. So many, Pune itself has a good example of a DSK, DS Kulkarni, recently in the Phone Pay. I forgot the name. Phone Pay, so same thing done. So typically, what is people do? They bring down their own stake to around 5%, 4%, and keep claiming ownership. Now already they have so less claim. That means remaining shareholders actually had a more claim, no, to the ownership. But they claim no, we are owner, and their ownership is only 5% or 4%, something like that. And then they bring situational losses, and one day they say that now nothing could be done, like companies in loss. So companies in loss, are they in loss? They already diverted the funds, So traditional logic, we should think that the owner will never allow the business to go in loss. That is how we should think. Is it a correct logic about these new people? Not at all. They just make a show that they are hardworking and their company is so good, and finally they systematically see to it that it will go into losses. Jet Airways, good example recently. Naresh Goyal, he has a 25 flats in Dubai. Jet Airways is in losses. He is not. He's tremendously in profit. How from where the money come for so many flats? Jet Airways, all profits is diverted. So Jet Airways there is loss, but then he made it in loss systematically, and then he tried to run away from the country. So many flats are there. So, but then finally this time government stopped him at the airport. From the aeroplane he was brought out. Earlier Nirav Modi, Vijay Mallya, they gone. But finally government said no, that's it. But this is the way. If this is a phenomena, one should be more careful now. So in IBC, one of the most important provision is that if the shareholders suspect that owner is not doing sufficient efforts to bring the company back to the profit, what they can do or what they can demand to change the ownership board. And owner will remain like so-called owner, suppose 4%, but totally board get changed and a new board is appointed who look after the, and this has been done in IBC. So many companies otherwise would have gone in losses come actually in profit once the professional board got set up. Once the professional board got set up, then it actually immediately come in profit. That means the owner is systematically doing a loss, showing that as a loss. Like, so this IBC is very effective relatively compared to all other their laws and ideas. IBC is effective, and that has helped in the banking sector to recover from the high NPS. And now today banking is in a better situation than what they are in the past.
In a company, there are multiple owners, multiple equity shareholders.
Correct.
So all shareholders do this provision.
No, what happened typically, suppose the company starts. So suppose these people they had around say 51%. So they are supposed to be the owner, some person who was entrepreneur started, and then slowly start reducing his own stake, bring it to 5%, and bring others. But he don't reveal it openly much. He don't talk about this. So it is already known. Suppose on SEBI website, all things are there, whose shareholding pattern, etc.
So the different owners doesn't do anything.
What he do, he keep others divided. Somebody has 2%, somebody has 1%, somebody has 0.5%, and such hundreds of people. So in return, he is actually a owner still. How? He has the highest shareholding. No? So what is interesting? 5% is the highest. And this is a typical game these people play. And this way, then make a big share valuation. What is the logic? Keep planting the news that some big order is going to come, something is going to happen, and this is systematically building image. So common investors, gullible there, they start investing, and once the valuation go high, then do what? Sell your shares and come out, and then continue if you want only as a salaried person. What interesting? They keep continue sometime. If you're getting high salaries, why to leave like? And that's the logic they had like. So here the common shareholder get food actually, because they are showed only dreams, and then ultimately owner only left. So dreams with people are shareholders, and he has left with the money. So dreams and money separated ultimately. So IBC finally has some provisions to see to it that such things should not be happen, and common shareholders should not be fooled like this.
So there will be less equity shareholder and more preference shareholders.
That doesn't make a difference. Preference shareholders means they get a first. So preference shareholders are as good as equity only. There is no big difference. Do you think they have a very different idea?
They also have the fixed dividend. No?
No, not fixed. If there is a profit, then only they get a dividend. Dividend is a share of profit. If only there is a profit, then the issue come of a But debt market, interest is dependent on profit or not? No. Debt market interest is not dependent on profit, irrespective of the company gets a profit or a loss. Interest has to be paid on timely duration like that. That's the way. So preference shares and equity shares is not big difference. Same thing really. Hmm?
Dividend is only on profit.
Obviously. Otherwise there is no question of doing the dividend comes.
If there is a loss, there is no.
There is a question of dividend. Owners has to share the loss. Type. Suffer. That's the case. Then RERA also they are discussed. So as you know, the Chinese economy is a good example. The Chinese economy in last 40 years have like expanded in multiple directions and become big. But one of the two key sectors China grown is basically the construction sector. Is the one. And infrastructure, which is again connected, construction and infrastructure. And then what happened, these two sectors create a lot of spillover effect to the other sectors, especially cement, aluminium, technologies like cranes. And so ultimately a lot of jobs get created, all other sectors get a boost. India is same phase. India has been boosting the especially construction sector a lot, and then a lot of housing projects have been coming up everywhere in the country. But such a big sector is actually unorganized in its form, and being unorganized is very dangerous. Why? Ambernath, you must have seen what happened. Police station there, the MLA shot the other person. Imagine. Why this all happened? Construction sector. These are all builders. These all MLAs are actually builders. So they had a clash over the land ownership and like so much that finally they attacked on each other. So this is one way happening because it is all what type of sector? Highly unorganized sector. If unorganized it is, then no surprise, a lot of bhais are been there, and then a lot of violence, black money, and then the ideas of converting black into white, suffering, all these issues are been there in the construction sector. It's a dirty sector it has become. How to make it a pure sector with the more clean prospects. So that's the RERA. So RERA has that all potential. RERA has already passed. Maharashtra was the first state in the country to pass the RERA. And taking clue from Maharashtra, it's still Maharashtra these things are happening. That shows. Without RERA, what would happen? So RERA, what's the biggest thing is that every project has to be registered or not? Yes. Every builder has to register or not? Every estate agent has to register or not? Yes. Registration number is there, and every advertisement, that number has to be written or not?
Yes.
Yes, which everybody can go and check whether that builder really exists or not. This project really, because that earlier that is not known. Only big brochures, colorful brochures. People used to directly pay the money, and actual builder is not there. There is no project only. People lost a lot of money such way like that. So such things should not happen. No? Common people's biggest investment is in housing only. So RERA has big potential to organize this sector, bring down the lawlessness, and improve the quality of construction like that. So RERA has helped to some extent. They say as the days will go, RERA will like give better and better results. So Real Estate Regulation and Development Act to create culture of transparent transactions. Builder collects the money, he has to create an account, and 70% of the money has to be spent immediately or on that project only. Earlier, what builders are typical idea that build some building, ground floor, first floor, and then start collecting the money for 9th floor building, and then start another project. Again, for two, and then show the going on so fast. Book early. Later you repent like that. And then again collect money another. So ते नावी कशी एकाला दाढी लावून ठेवतात म्हणजे फेस आणि दुसरीकडे so this is like, so what has been done in RERA, account has been opened, and this all money has to be put in that account, and 70% of the money you can't touch and use for any other thing. You have to use it for that project only, because people are given for that project no money. How you can use divert it somewhere else?
Every project there is a new account for every project.
Yes.
Right, separate account. So and then people can track it. Earlier people should not know only what this person has been doing like that. You should for some time to show that work is so fast going on, and suddenly stop the work. And after that, then why is not doing it again? Never you should tell.
So with that account number, they will get the information also.
Yes, people can directly see it. what is going on. Information has to be revealed. So highly transparent RERA is. So at least for some time it has brought in trouble the builders, but now they are adjusting. But let's hope that they'll come to more and more in the legal system. Loopholes are there, of course, some, but they could be like understood. If this all sector become more stabilized and legal, then actually it will be a big boost to the Indian economy. No? Construction sector, infrastructure sector, they had a like potential to drive the Indian economy. That's the case. So they are going to data more than 1 lakh real estate projects are being registered. 72,000 real estate agents are registered under the act. No, but they show the home. So they are also stakeholder, no? And again, nobody knows who is the agent. He is many times hand in gloves with the builder. Then they just fool the people together. So why not? This is a big business. Like many people work a full career as agents only. So then it should be licensed, no? Why anybody should work as agent and like create trouble? No. China, China has a very different model. There is a market socialism model. Market socialism model, there are a lot of private companies in everything. Everything is done by private. But in this all companies, who has a stake? Government. And this is the way behind the curtain, they are the one who manage the show. Outside it's a private and all are competing with each other. But behind the curtain, government of China is managing the thing. That is the way. No. India, we have developed a PPP model, which is similar to China only, public-private partnerships, in which where we think that a private is not in the position to take a full risk. It's a government to share the risk. But otherwise, suppose private is ready to take full risk, then so Geo is a completely private.
What about the quality of the project?
Quality of the?
Project. The construction quality or the safety measures.
No, so that regulation part is always with whom? If one thing which can't be privatized, then that's the regulation part. Regulation part, there is no other option. Like, it has to be with whom? Government. Participating as a stakeholder, one can divest, one can come out of it, but not regulation. India regulation should be stronger. And indeed, separating both roles is also important. Government as a player and government as a, they should be separate. They should not be mixed up, because again, then government compromises the quality then. If government itself is a regulator, that has been seen. Morbi Bridge is like not having a sufficient proper regulatory mechanism. Regulatory mechanism has not been done properly, and then that whole tragedy took place. So every time in the government type of project or important projects, one cannot go by the idea of a lowest bid. No, traditional idea, simple idea is that lowest bid should be given a project. But what is the problem with lowest bid idea? Low quality, no? And imagine that Morbi Bridge case. Low quality means what? People's life. No, so many people died. So low quality can't be, low price can't be the only factor. Other factors should be given a importance. So combination of a low price and quality should be given a bid, and not only a low price. GST payers have now taxpayers. GST to discuss in detail. GST is now stabilized finally. Initially, there are people skeptical about GST. Rahul Gandhi called it a Gabbar Singh tax. So there are a lot of apprehensions about it. Software is not properly been that time been developed. But one by one, they did work on it. Removed the apprehensions about it. Technology also stabilized now, and finally it is giving good results now. Every month the collection is going up. So target was initially like a 1 lakh crore per month. It is already surpassed it, nearly reaching to 2 lakh crore now. And then half of it goes to directly whom? States. Half center and half states. So that's another good thing for states. No? For states, the resources get built up. Traditional competitive states that don't have resources built up. Now even that is not an issue like that. And this is the way GST is one of the big achievement of the Indian economy. GST has increased the transport speed or kept the same? Increased, because now things like e-way bill has been there, by which there is no need to stop at any post. You can just show the bill, which is also online, and then the transportation sector has a big relief. Speed has gone up. It especially helped the transport of agriculture goods, because agriculture goods are perishable in nature. No? So other things like toys are there, they can wait for 4 days also. But suppose banana is there and 4 days on waiting on the Cheknaka, then ultimately all shall better eat that banana there only, like instead of taking them ahead. So this type of issues are been there. So that way GST has been very helpful. They have discussed and stabilized finally. No, now big hindrances are not there into it.
Who is the stakeholder of
IGST is that it's a suppose now within a state the transaction happen, then there is a mechanism. Within a center happen mechanism, but interstate happen.
Maharashtra?
Then there is IGST been created for that. So there is a central sales tax earlier. So that central sales tax is actually now turned into IGST mechanism. That is how, which has been shared ultimately.
Between the two states.
No, now what they had done in that, there's a original idea sales tax. Originating state is to get a
Okay.
tax, but now in GST is a different idea. The state receiving state, that is the transaction happen finally, last transaction, that get a tax. And therefore initially Maharashtra, Gujarat, etc. suffered. Why? Because Maharashtra, Gujarat basically industrial states, no? So old idea is to get more tax. But a new idea now, what will happen? The source state will not get a main tax. The main tax will be attributed to the receiving state. So UP, Bihar initially has advantage. But over the period of time, that could be like, and so that has happened. So initially what they have given is a compensation has been given. 5 years compensation. No, compensation means if suppose Maharashtra has a particular rate collection earlier, sales tax, and after GST the collection declined, so that difference will be paid by the center for 5 years. And COVID period, what happened? The COVID period 2 years, big trouble. So it is extended to 2 more years. But finally now Maharashtra is also getting the equivalent to the tax, and then more than that, what is earlier you were getting. So finally these tactics help. That finally states are convinced with the compensation, and now everybody has come in the profit. Everybody has, because a lot of small businesses which are not earlier been captured are been come in the GST thing, and therefore collection is rising. It's not that per se business is rising. Business is there always, but earlier the small people should not pay any tax. But GST structure is such that you can't avoid paying the. It's a chain structure idea. So 10 points are there, and out of 10 points of transactions, one person come to the government and said that I want to pay the tax. What happened? 10 points of transactions are there, and out of 10 people involved in the chain, one person came to GST department and said I want to pay the tax. What happened? All 9 get caught. Chain system is there, no? All 9 get caught, and this is a big interesting thing about GST. You can keep all the 10 honest, but you can't keep all the 10 dishonest. No, there are some people who are like, मैं जाऊंगा है ना, मैं क्यों करूँ? So they go show that this is the transaction done. So once he come, all are 9 get. So soon 9 come to know, better you take GST number, start paying GST, because as you get caught, penalty you have to pay. And plus now so much GST has been established that ultimately in business now, before doing any trade deal, the other side first asks the question that whether you had a GST number. If you say no, they keep down the phone and they don't talk further. So that means for any business now.
Job opportunity GST number is also like the fraud companies can be
Ticketed to some extent.
yeah, like if there is no GST number, then it is a fraud company.
So can you explain what is the earning from having a GST number in brief?
Then what happened in GST number? Now so much GST has been established properly that now what's the GST's main idea? That suppose 3 points are there, 1, 2, 3. So second come to the tax authorities that I have purchased for 500 and selling it to next person for 800. So value addition is 300. So I'll pay the tax on 300. They said no. We don't say earlier point. So you pay on 800. He said why 800? I done value addition only. They said okay, you done the value addition 300. That means you purchased from someone for 500. Who is that? So this get caught. So from him collect the tax also and penalty also. So what happened then? What is the logic on this second person? That either he should show this person or pay full tax on 800. So finally what he thinks that then why to pay? Why I should pay tax on this tax? So he shows, but other way around, what he do now, before doing an order or like doing any business, now he asks this person first question this only. Do you have a GST number? If say yes, then he talk next in quality, pricing, etc. If he says no, then he doesn't talk only. Why? Because then otherwise his tax who has to pay? So this is the technique that everybody is liable for the paying tax of earlier level which earlier level not paid. So ultimately, every person keep asking each other question all the time that do you had a GST number? That means have you paid the tax? Earlier, like a mad government is only keep asking question, have you paid the tax? And all are like a duff, it's not here only. Now every day thousands of people asking each other question, that becomes the best idea for the government. That is how GST then improved. It is going to improve because structure is only such that if some people come, remaining has to come. It's not that some come, remaining or not. That can't be in GST. GST either all come or only other option is
No.
no one will come. Structure is such only that all will come or no one will come back.
So second number will question the first number. Third number will question the
Second number. Chain. So chain 10 people are there then. And we discuss. And only one is honest and come. Then all the chain get caught. And so this way it's a chain. So main work is to catching the multiple chains. So you can see a small clue. They immediately catch the longer chains, catch many people immediately. And so ultimately everybody come to know whether or not to stop avoiding the paying. And as it is, all are paying. What's the advantage, Rate of tax come down, no? Earlier rate was high because few are paying, no? But now when all are paying rate of, and then the rate of tax is decline, it becomes incentive to pay the tax. Why to avoid, no?
Yes.
If rate is low, then why to avoid? Let's pay it. That becomes the spirit. So that's the advantage of this system like that. So GST has improved. But meanwhile, when paper also have what purpose of practice, small paper, not very difficult. You just try it immediately and sort it.
Helps in finding the idea.
What is saying?
GST number also helps in finding the idea.
Means of course, these are linked. You don't have to like give. They are linked to everything. GST number is extension of a PAN number.
And
So finish. You had a GST number means what? You have a PAN. So you don't have to file. They take it from them directly. They link to each other. That is how they're done. Solve the paper. So, sir, welcome. Let's go on now. Last 4 years growing by 7%. Listen. So, world economy growing by 2%. Listen. Not true about Jan Dhan Yojana. Total banking is not yet achieved
Yes.
in that goal, but other things are true. The current account deficit is just above 1%. Foreign exchange reserve cover nearly 11 months. It should cover normally for how many months? 6. International standard is that it should cover at least 6 months of imports, but presently they are covering 11 months of import. So better situation. Then the government has issued a Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana for 80 crore citizens for 5 years and 5 years. That is it. So now the airports have doubled. Not true regarding the recent achievement in the education sector. B, listen, girls outmatched the boys in the higher education. The government gave them 50 years.
50
listen.
years.
real estate
66.
16.
Sorry, 16. Yes.
16. Which of the following is not true about efforts taken by the government to ease the main business? So the angel tax was cancelled.
Yes. Yes, I agree.
Angel tax was the idea that what happened, that suppose some startup is there. So how the startup get investment typically? They do a valuation. Suppose its valuation is done like say 10 lakh rupees. Then it is turned into shares. Shares whose face value is just 10, but they purchase it, the buyers, at 100 rupee per share. And in return, that one way invest in that particular startup. And this is the method things are. But what government took a meaning of it, that see, 10 rupee thing become 100. So 90 rupees profit. So on that we pay the tax. They said it's an investment. It is yet to start. And then where is the profit come? Indeed, see, all sort of businesses initially losses, no? So this angel tax, this issue is called as angel tax issue. So initially government was bent, no, it's a profit, pay the tax on that, etc. But finally they proved that it's not, it's just an investment. So cancelled. Finally, angel tax has been cancelled. Startup only. Angel issues are with startup only. The number of recognized startups, 98,000. See, National Logistics Policy 22C. Which of the following is not true about the Ayushman Bharat scheme? It's not primary, this is secondary and tertiary. Internet penetration in India crossed the 50% mark. So resilient service export and lower oil import cost has resulted in the lowering India's current account deficit to 1% at present. So the following is not true. The D, income differential is actually going up. Premiumization of economy, as we discussed. Project monitoring group D, Pragati. India ranks second largest producer of, not true. Milk, number 1. Milk, we are number 1. Enam, no, Enam, everything is correct only. No. There is a information. Wait. A, from 250, it has gone to,
500.
no, not 500. So there is a number, 13,000 something. We'll come to that. Or something 13,000 has been there. All this information there is in our notes. Same thing I made a paper. And finally, last is a agri stack. The idea is called the agri stack. So we'll come to this ideas now.
So the foreign exchange recalls nearly 11%. What is that? How it is good that it is, how it is not?
No. So what happened that as you know that imports can't be stopped at any cost. Especially India is dependent on what? Oil. And if you want to do imports, then you have to keep the forex ready. You can't pay them in domestic currency. They will not accept. So then logically, you should have the forex ready always, such a way that at least for 6 months imports to be paid. That's like a normal logic. That much money, half of the year at least they should be ready. So internationally, this is the logic. So that becomes the benchmark to see whether how much you have in comfortable situation. So now presently 11 months imports could be covered easily with the forex we had. So that's more than comfortable, like more than 6 has been available. That's the way. So about education, they say we have been expanding in number and enrollment has gone up and overall education. But education, some new ideas have come as like bringing outside expert professionals into the teaching field and taking from them the, so it's like a deemed professor idea. So in development is already there, but in India it is not established properly. We take only academic people all the time, but what is the problem with academic people only? They're theoretical. They are highly theoretical and they don't know what is practical. And so the big gap build up between the theoretical education in India and what actually practically industries happen. So that one thing one can try. Or there is another idea called as like education system such a way that it will be partly online and partly offline. Partly online and partly offline. 60% course will be on offline and 40% will be online. But then what critics say that this may actually create a gap between the students and the professors. That IITs are highly successful because not only they are offline or residential, not only they are offline but they are actually, that's one of the main reason why they're so much successful. If you remove this part, two parts or one of them, that directly the success will come down. So one should not like play with this idea that education process mainly happen offline and not exactly online. That is a criticism, but overall government is emphasizing on that part. Then Bharatmala, etc. This in then startups have gone up. Those startups have gone up. There is an issue in India's unicorns. You know what is a unicorn? 1 billion. If the market capitalization of somebody goes up to 1 billion, then it becomes the unicorn. So India has like 100 unicorns, highest in the world. Sometime back, Prime Minister boasted, but most of them are getting burst
Yes.
one by one, and so now no more he talk about it. Like he is selective about boasting also. But what is the issue? Because overvaluations happen. Even there is no track record of like good returns. Most of them are not going to give the returns immediately. They are going to give very much in future. So then it become idea whether to worth follow or not become the issue. Free gas collection. So you say Ujjwala is a big success. So government has continued with it. 10 crore women are given free gas connections. Toilet, another success only problem is that the toilets are been built, but water is not been given. So obviously then water has to be also arranged. So ODF plus, so two things have been identified. So ODF is open defecation fee, and ODF plus is what? Those who maintain and also separate water. So now two type of villages we had, ODF and ODF plus. So only ODF happen, then now you have to work on ODF plus. Jandhan we already seen. So many beneficiaries there. Pakka house has been also expanding. Prime Minister Kaushalya Vikas Yojana, 1.3 crore candidates have been given a training. So again, the record type. Out of which 24 lakh individuals have been placed. It has been claimed. So that is like a big success if suppose it has been a data correct. So the Kaushalya Vikas Yojana focus on developing multiple skills and diversify skills so that India gets like a skilled manpower. Indian labor is only 6% skilled, one of the lowest in the world itself. So the need to give this impart the skills and thereby improve the productivity of the labor in India. So internet penetration is going up. Aadhaar has played the key role into this all expansion of a beneficiary projects. So over 34 lakh crore are been transferred by now. So huge amount of money has been transferred by different ways by the government, pensions, scholarships, or the subsidy for LPG, subsidy for fertilizers, rationing subsidies. So many things have been bought on the DBT. So more than 200 crore Aadhaar based authentication happening every month. That's a record type. So Aadhaar has become now central seeding mechanism. For everything, seeding has been done with the help of Aadhaar only. So India has been a leapfrogging in the financial inclusion space. About launching satellites, India has launched 431 foreign satellites by now, out of which 396 are launched after the Modi government come on power. So this way what happened that a lot of money the ISRO can earn by this method because then it make them self-sufficient. So why ISRO is in much demand? Hmm?
No,
For some, number one reason, the technology they used, the method is called as a Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, PSLV. This Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle is cheap technology than GSLV. GSLV is directly going through the gravity and then establishing a 35,000 kilometer the satellite. So PSLV is a different technique. You just launch for 1000 kilometer, and then apogee and perigee is there. So once you go to apogee, enter into another orbit, and then again apogee, and this way you take it to 36,000 kilometer. Type of jugaad, but then finally cost drastically low, and success rate is very high of ISRO. Hardly they fail any time. So that way insurance is also low. Premium has to insurance is there, but premium is very low required. Other countries where the failure rate is high, high premiums has to be paid for the insurance. So no surprise, foreign countries are launching through now ISRO their own satellites. That's a big achievement indeed. Which is
ISRO was, Vishwan Modi also under PMO or
no, it's always from under PMO.
under PMO.
That's the reason of the success. Very fast they work out, very professionally they work out. That is one of the identified. And now they're self-sufficient. Now they earn their own money, which is a marketing agency of ISRO. They market the various products. Antariksha Corporation. Antariksha Corporation. So there are like another one is formed now. Last budget they formed the new space agency. Another one they have formed for marketing. And now they are also taking the private collaboration into the making, and now allowing even the private can use this launching stations or not. Yes, now allowed finally, which is earlier not there. But now we must have seen which company has come up fast in this field. SpaceX, Elon Musk. So if he can do it privately, then why can't India also do it like that? So finally, recently, first private launching has been done from Sriharikota last year only. Before that, never the private launching has happened. And successfully it happened. Successfully, the private launching has been done of a satellite. No, SpaceX is just taken US. Same way we allowed now the
Who is the private player in India?
private one, Bangalore company is there. I forgot the name, but that company first time launched their own satellite privately. So all things they had done, arranged everything. Only these people provided the platform type. Rent is being paid to the ISRO. In the return, they have launched their own satellite like that. So this way, creating a private capabilities and ultimately competition to ISRO. Presently, per se, ISRO don't have any domestic competition. Foreign competition is there, but domestic not there. So why not to give monopoly? Allow others also to come up. That's the logic. 5G has been implemented very fast, that we already seen. Resilient service export and lower oil import costs. So service export has been growing because as we discussed, what is it found in the COVID period that the businesses which were taken at least 50 years to come digital directly become digital. Work from home become the norm type. And so India emerged as a global service center. India emerged as a global service center that many companies found it better to create a direct center in India and serve all clients all over the world. And so most of the Fortune 500 companies in COVID period decided to build an Indian business as a global service center itself. So that particular decision of the private companies, MNCs, helped the India a lot. It gave the new boost to the service sector in India. Already India's service sector was better, but then the new boost itself. So no surprise now it has been thriving faster. And biggest share of the GDP is already a service sector only. That has been happening. 5G implementation is also fastest. We discussed already. So what made the Indian economy resilient? So they are discussed in detail. We discussed already. Pandemic, how it created opportunities, e-way bill, rail freight traffic, port cargo traffic. So finally, we have made a dedicated corridors. Which two? Eastern dedicated corridor and a Western dedicated corridor. So finally, first such a dedicated railway corridors have built up. So with that, the transportation become easy and faster and also cheaper. So that did help positively for improving the domestic market, expansion of business and opportunities. Focus on infrastructure creation and demand for housing is a driving construction activity, reflected in increased steel consumption and cement production. Steel and cement got a boost. Proactive inflationary management that we already discussed the issue. Dollar that I also discussed already. It has come down on the stability. External debt remain low in the overall debt. This is another issue that is seen. How much of your external debt and how much is your internal debt is not a big issue. Why? Cash, rupee. You can pay in rupee, and rupee is our production. No? External debt is the main issue because that is to be paid in forex, which you can't print. So therefore, proportion of internal to external debt is seen. So around 18% only is the external debt, not very high. So comfortable level India is into. The share of services to total GVA, gross value addition, has become 51%. From 51 to 54%, it has gone up. Sustain the digital phase cured by the government drive toward digitization, now embodied the globally recognized India stack. So this India stack म्हणजे काय? Moli. Like the wood has been bought together and tied together, it's called a stack. So India stack is like all these UPI, CoWIN, and so many different type of architecture we have, ideas we have built up. So this together is called as a, even the e-commerce market India has been building prior governmentally. So online commerce portal has been created by the government in which anybody can register and sell their products. So this is the interesting idea India has been trying. No other country tried it. They always go, China has Alibaba, US has a Amazon, and we have all this plus Flipkart, etc. But now even government is creating another platform. So good idea. It's not that we should like ban the private, but government can also come up with their own initiative. So ultimately build opportunities, comparison become possible, and then things become better. So we have a unique model in India, I think we discussed earlier, that we do go for public-private separately even today. So the idea that there should not be a public monopoly established now, but there should not be also private monopolies. No? So logically, where public sector is monopoly, government should go for disinvestment and also divestment if required, and then create a private existence. And opposite way, if there is a private monopolies, then government should enter and create a competition, show the direction that could be done. So interestingly, under the Modi, the number of PSU has gone up or come down? Gone up. It is 350 now than earlier. So what are interesting? We think that Modi is like an anti-socialist and he is a socialist type of leader actually. So they criticize the Nehru, but nothing different like that. But sometimes it is, we are not saying arguing directly that it's a wrong idea. Sometimes it is required. It's case by case issue. Some sectors government should have the presence. Some other sectors where it is already private is developed, government should withdraw. And some other sectors where it has not been developed and government intervention is required, government should enter. That is how things are. Which one? BSNL, right. Now already they have built up unnecessary like financing, it is like bleeding our own economy all the time. But still they have financed to BSNL. They always talk about we will create a BSNL. Day and night they are like killing it, and by voice they say that we are going to rebuild the BSNL. Then what exactly you are doing then? No, there are long queues in BSNL. For why? I want to BSNL, long queues to close the. So this has been day and night going on. All are coming and like closing there. So they, by eye one can see what it's been like going down. And still they say in the budget that no, will revive the BSNL, and this much money has been like going to be kept. Say 36,000 crore. Now this is all wastage. Then why you have been like recreating it? Then. So private final consumption has become the main engine of the economy. They have discussed. So as you know, economy recovery engine. So traditionally it's a public expenditure, public sector which is to invest, and so that's the engine. But now already we have entered into the era of a main engine to be a private consumption expenditure. So that has been growing, and with more Ayodhyas, more such consumption will grow. Government thinks, and so Diwali will be done. So that may be economic logic. You may claim like. So India is emerging as the fastest growing major economy in the past few years. So how this all possible? Because then all this type of like things have brought down the basics. People are no more busy in basics, or not transaction cost have reduced in everything. So that has created a positive impact on the economy, and ultimately that is giving the boost to the economy, that they say. That earlier time, lot of economic activities are actually not fructifying. Say, I have gone to the theater for the film and seen the board of house full and come back by the same rickshaw. So that way consumption go up in the economy. Rickshaw wala got employment. Petrol is being used in rickshaw. So GDP will also go up. So consumption gone up, GDP also gone up, employment has gone. What is the main issue? But I've not seen the film, no, but I come back. So main activity not happen, na. So it's created a balloon type. Outwardly GDP gone up, employment gone up, petrol consumption gone up, so everything gone up. But main activity not happen, na. Now will I see the theater, go to the theater first? See online first. Because the tickets are available. If available, I will book and then I'll go. Other I'll not go only. So good, that is good or this is good? This is good. Now here, if I go now to theater, I see the film. Earlier time, less people see the film and more go back. So that was the situation. Big crowd used to be there. Do ka char, or like, black people are there. A lot of interesting things used to be there. Like, so all this is unnecessarily. One can like, so that advantage economy did got now, we can say. So reduce compliance burden now, simplified laws, opening up various sectors, strategic disinvestment, and this has given space and opportunities to the private sector to grow. So overall, Gujarat, he has come from Modi, and then Gujarat model is based upon always this ancient medieval also on private or government initiative. Private. Gujarat is like a trading state. Private initiatives is the main idea, and so accordingly, that is the focus kept. Demat accounts are expanded to 13.9 crore. That is a 536% growth, unprecedented. So COVID period, one thing people catch on is opening a demat account and start trading. Zero tha also grown up one of the company. And then what is the good idea one way that earlier also government has the same idea that what over the time people should expect that bank should give higher interest on fixed deposit or government should give more interest on the government securities or EPFO, Employees Provident Fund and such things. So that was not possible. If you keep the interest rate high this way, what's the problem? No, that was once a era, and then people should expect FD there was a 15% interest rate once upon a time. 15%, very high. But if you suppose you keep such an interest rate high, what's the issue? In the return, corporates suffer, no? If they want to take a loan, then they have to take at 25%. If 15% is an FD, then 25% normal rate. Imagine which business gives the returns of. So they have to earn more than that to make a profit, which is nearly impossible until they do some problem like that. So this type of like business can't be sustained. So therefore, for growth of the economy and the business environment, interest rates should be high or low. Low, no? How can such a 15% interest rate will be sustained? So finally, we have come down to 7-8% interest rates now. But what about then people's expectation? Because many people should just survive on that in over times. Keep in bank some 50 lakh and keep paying the fixed deposit or interest on that, and then that survive. What to do that? What about this such people? You have to think of everybody in democracy. You have to look at everyone, like everyone's concern is important. Like so better going to capital markets. Ultimately, by low interest regime, we are promoting what? Capital market, na? We are promoting the business environment. So better you invest there, na? You'll get more than that, 10%, 30%. So overall, the stock market has given 13% returns from 2000 to 2023. Overall returns you found around 13%. 13% is a good returns. In bank, do you get this much? You can't. Banks will give 7-8% maximum. Beyond that, below inflation they'll give. But here now it's above inflation and good returns. So finally, people were convinced in the COVID period. They open the demat accounts and they're investing. Of course, some digits that people may get addicted to it. Some may invest all their income into it. That issues are there. But otherwise, suppose around 10% of the income one should invest and then keep one stake in stock market also. That's a good. So one way people directly come in the stock market and start taking interest in this all what companies are doing, and then good or bad? Very good. Economic democracy. It established type of economic. Old times, this is not a people's concern, like companies and what they're doing, etc. Today now, common people also discuss all these ideas. But in return now, responsibility of CB has gone up or come down? Gone up. Why? Because now common people are involved in such a big way. If now Harshad Mehta's type scam happen, the save is gone. They'll be hanged publicly because so much will be the anger. So in return, they have to be very cautious about managing this all stock market business now. Mhm. Right. Save is headquarters in front only. Then another discussion there is the Pragati, that is a project monitoring group. This is started in 14 only. This is actually a software in which one can see what is the progress of a particular business file is going on, which ministry it has been there, and period particular, suppose that ministry it could be there for 10 days. Suppose 10 days across the 11th day, the file is not still gone ahead. Immediate red dot come in that software. That still that ministry the file is stuck. So early morning Modi as a wake up, he first see that Pragati only. First thing in the day is the Pragati. Immediately phone to that minister and he's gone. Why the file is still there? So now all got sleepless. They immediately clear the files and send ahead. Don't get hurdle. And so it has helped ultimately. So expanding the long delay in the projects. So what was presently we are doing a huge number of infrastructure projects, ports, roads, airports. So clearing is very clear important. No? Otherwise, what happened earlier, every ministry is like a separate government plus state different. Against state ministries, each one should sit on each project for hours and hours and days and days. So whole project is to get delayed, overhead costs are high, and ultimately it's loss making idea. So what has been done now? We have created one portal to synchronize all these permissions to track whose file is sitting with whom and what is happening which is a portal. Everybody can see. You and me can go and see what is happening. Any project where the file is stuck and where it's been stopping a project. What's the name of the portal? No, that's like with the ministers, especially Prime Minister. For you and me, which portal is available? Gati Shakti. A portal has been there called Gati Shakti. In this, all the infrastructure projects are brought together. Around 10 lakh crore projects are been there of both center, state, and even private. All are there. And so one can track directly what is happening with what. So this way it created transparency. Big projects has to be given special attention. If they get successful and completed on time, it may be big advantage to economy. But exactly opposite. If they get delayed, if they get decelerated, big trouble may come. Best example, Mumbai, this RA car shed issue. So much losses happen that it has nothing decided for you days and days. So then overhead cost gone up, no? So finally it has been done there only, but in between then so much problems come. So this type of thing should not happen. There should be transparency, discussion. Discussion should have been there, of course, about it, but at least should have been done from time and things should have been completed on time instead of delaying the things. Or I think that they should have first finalized the Karshed project and then started a metro work, no? How these people done opposite are innovating that they started a metro and so everything all stations are ready and then now they don't have. Now without Karshed, how can I have a metro? Karshed is required, no? So this type of opposite direction should not be there. Agriculture sector policies is one of the key, they say. So agriculture is still a backbone, a bedrock of the economy. But climate change has been one of the biggest issue we have been facing. So now sector has been growing, but annually the agriculture is breaking its own record. But also it selectively now targeted by the climate change issues especially. So one has to create some supporting system to the agriculture. Presently growing at a 3.7%. So normal rate of agriculture doesn't grow beyond 4. It was called by what name? Hindu rate of growth. No, this was once one economist called Raj. He called it a Hindu rate of. Sarcastically, means majority farmers are Hindus. And if agriculture's growth rate is not beyond 4, then normally economy cannot grow beyond 5 or 6. Because that time agriculture based on some industry and service, but overall it can't go beyond 6. So that becomes the famous nomenclature, Hindu rate of growth, a psychological barrier that India can't grow beyond 6. But finally in 1990s, we have crossed that particular barrier. And 1990s started growing by 7 or sometimes 8%. And this is the way. But then this particular correction is correct, but at Hindu rate of growth, that is, if agriculture remain at low level, beyond one limit, economy cannot run faster. The best example is that we are never able to cross the 10% growth rate, or not to touch the 10%. So many years we are around 7, 8, 9, but never touch the So 2014 when he come on power, we said Modi took oath. प्रतिज्ञा है मेरी है 2 digit
Growth rate.
2 digit 10% will touch. But we said COVID period minus 23%. The 1 quarter सपने पूरे होते ही है ना कभी कभी उल्टे होते हैं ना रिवर्स में those are supporting Modi they said no the tiger takes steps back before taking a leap इतने बड़े steps back लेके कैसे leap लेंगे तो फिर क्या है कि यार this is the issue that we are never able to touch the double digit not even once but China for 1 decade full crossed 10 so that's the main difference between China and India's thing like China 1 full decade was about 10 and we are not even once able to touch the 10 so how this difference happens mainly agriculture if is not going to grow beyond 4 can the other these two sectors alone can take the India about 10 they can't beyond they keep try to jump but they can't jump beyond particular limit because of the base itself is a agriculture no
Now depends on the technological aspect more.
no we are not able to transform the agriculture into technological world Indian agriculture is least mechanized labor centric highly it is this issue has been there and then it is not properly scientifically been done scientific agriculture is lacking largely in India that's another issue we are facing so low productivity has been there plus climate change now so many issues have been there already so in that case then we have to like focus on agriculture and see to it it should first cross the barrier of 4% if agriculture cross the barrier of 4% then Indian economy will go into double digit as our dream was but then what Modi governments I see that they just see to it that it will maintain neither neglect of course because it is costly highest voters in India are farmers so obviously they can't neglect but neither they intensively invest in the field of agriculture instead of investing what strategy government has Krishi Samman Yojana 6,000 rupees are been given keep them happy like but then what critics say that why you giving money this way better you invest that money in agriculture if you invest agriculture will grow no if you don't invest then growth it doesn't happen like it will stuck up at 4% but immediate advantage government thing is of giving the money in the hand that has like a exemplary effect like farmers think that somebody is with us and like paying and then government outwardly claim that input cost to some extent get managed by this method like that some of the input cost to get managed because of the money given in the hand Maharashtra also has a separate Namo Yojana in which another 6,000 they give separate Maharashtra government has a Namo Yojana only Maharashtra every state has similar things also so say 6,000 center plus 6,000 state so 12,000 per year but same money could be actually invested in the field of agriculture no investments are crucial in the field of agriculture but that is farmer is not in the position to invest because 87% of farmers are marginal farmers so small that they are just surviving they can't think of investing and private and government is not investing so neither private is doing neither government so then that sector remain lacking like and so the long term solution to the India is like crossing the 10% growth rate depend upon what we do with our agriculture we have to make it mechanized we have to make it scientific and we have to like take it out of 4% barrier that we are stuck up
Will always be a agro-based economy throughout the
we are
our economy, Indian economy will always be an agro-based economy or it will shift in coming days or
no you can't shift beyond put limit it's a bedrock because in the sense that as we discussed a pyramid this is not just for discussion theory it's really that what happened what is secondary do manufacturing they process what is produced by primary no or they do the things in air you can't do things in air you have to do have something and then you can process you can manufacture and then what service sector do they transport things from one place to another give advertisement consultancy finance but something should be there na first so are you getting they're directly connected and first activity is always done by primary so suppose primary sector this much only build the secondary can only be this much and third this much are you getting they're connected if primary build this much then they will be this much and this much so all depend upon what so this will carry secondary and tertiary on its own take the economy beyond one limit is not possible then they depend on external demand But external demand is a very dicey idea. It may go up, it may come down. Trump is going to come back. Big threat to India now.
It seems.
The way things are going right. And if Trump come on power, then India is gone. His policies are largely like America first. So such a policies are going to be, so the domestic demand has to build up. So this way, it's about not about showing some sympathy to agriculture or so. That is not right. It's like it's related to our economic development. Or economic development depend upon development of a primary sector. If it's grow beyond particular 4%, then only economy will actually grow. So turn around faster, we can say. At present, it is not happening, then premiumization is happening. Secondary and tertiary sector is doing a good business and earning, but not exactly happening with the primary sector. You must just soybean price, cotton price. What was the price 10 years back? Exactly same price that presently is going on. Now farmers are frustrated. 10 years back also same price. Today also same price. Then same price is education available at same price? Is petrol available at same price? Nothing else in the economy is available at same price. But agriculture prices are the same. So then he suffers, no? His income is not sufficient.
Why certain crops like onion or tomato have trends in the market?
Yes.
Because of the multiple ideas like warehousing facilities, especially cold storage not sufficient available, processing is not been for sufficient available, and they had seasonal variations in them. Sometimes they are bumper crop and much available, and sometimes there is a for some reason shortage.
It is all on demand supply.
Mhm.
It is all on
No, not demand supply. Demand is constant. Will you eat more onions? You can't. Onion is onion like. So that way demand is constant. Supply problems are there. Supply get varied like. So government has a top scheme. Top is a tomato, onion, and potato. Tomato, onion, and potato scheme is there. Tops. So top scheme is like created a fund in which they're processing. So PLI mainly focus on electronic sector, mobile especially. So around 98% of the mobiles are what we consume in India are produced in India only. Though by they foreign companies only, but at least they produce in now India. Or pharmaceutical, another sector. Because all Indian pharmaceutical companies bring their basic formulas from China only. So then that is another issue. So now on that also PLI has been focused. So PLI specifically China specific and such sectors where we can become self-sufficient. We are trying exactly those sectors. In PLI, what government do? They give say at least 4 to 6% of profit directly in the hand of a corporates. So imagine sharing a profits directly or giving profits in the hand. So suppose technically the company is not making any profit. So existing people also can make a new excess production should be there. And then criticism on this scheme is that this scheme is basically helps the big industries actually, not small. So big are becoming big, not small. And second, what happened until this scheme is going on, a lot of production is like happening, or at least shown that it's production because as we discussed, 98% of mobiles are produced in India now. Changes in the economy. So big data they are given. How much exports it has achieved, helped achieved. How MSM is also getting helped. Mobile manufacturing, a significant reduction in import of raw materials in the pharma sector, a jump in the turnover of drone sector. India want to become the hub of a drone manufacturing. So then other some things like Udyam is the portal for registration of businesses, especially MSMEs. And for labor registration, which portal is there? For business to register, Udyam portal is there. If labor registration, some portal is critical. PM Vishwakarma is a scheme recently launched for whom? Artisans, craftsmen. For them, Vishwakarma scheme has been launched. Shishu, Kishore and Yuva. So up to 50,000 Shishu, up to 5 lakh Kishore and up to 10 lakh Yuva. So they claim that 25 lakh crore are been given under this Mudra Yojana. So that's a huge amount of us. But it has been also criticized that a lot of NPAs are been gathered into this sector also. Then Credit Guarantee Fund Trust for Micro and Small Enterprises created. So in COVID period, a lot of businesses closed or at least become weak because of their no fault, no bid demand, the rents has to be paid. But so such there is a special fund, a guarantee fund, offered to the banks that you give them extend the loans, and if anything happen, we will pay you. So that was a hit idea that helped in recovering all these businesses back to the normal thing, normalcy. So government decided to extend that loan further now. Scheme, actually a temporary scheme, but since found useful, government decided to go ahead with the scheme ahead like. But logistics, one unified logistics enterprise platform has been also built. So overall, India has been digitized. Digitization in India is all now doing everything quickly. Websites, portal, apps. Which country has the highest number of software engineers in the world? India only. So we can take a best advantage of the situation. And at least in that particular aspect, we should not lag behind. So average turnaround time have come down. Citizen-centric services we are focusing on. Then India stack, overall like aggregate stack, India stack is all this DPI only. Digital public infrastructure, online, paperless, cashless, digital access. So include the Aadhaar, UPI, etc. So e-commerce is expanding. So already 25% of the trade, retail trade is happening through e-commerce. So that's a good data indeed. And with so much been shifted already to e-commerce, a lot of potential is in the future in build up. So all these things they discuss in detail. What are the different type of like so digital locker is been built up. Digital document extension platform is also been there. So with that fintech sector build up, what happened? Documentation has been assured once. Then fintech sector. What is fintech sector? Have you heard? Financial technologies. So finance plus technology. So digital technology like that. So that's a fintech. So this fintech sector comes now the like data is available, bank account, then lending become easier or difficult? Easy. Online only Aadhaar, this is online only collect, online only give the loan. Some cases there is no need to take any collateral also. Some cases small collateral is taken. So it's a big way expanded the sector. And good traditional idea of taking loan in credit and going to bank manager, meeting him personally. This is all online. Nobody meets anybody and directly loans are being extended even at smaller level. And this way the fintech become possible because of DPIs, they say. So digital overall we discussed already. India has been like so world class DPI. Fintech market, India is the third biggest in the world now. Global capability centers is also been like built up. Banks are back in the business that we were discussed. Sensex is also showing a good returns. Overall, they have been booming and creating new records in the heights. IPOs, number of IPOs has substantially gone up. So IPO is the best idea to start and expand a business. So a lot of new IPOs have come recently with the positive sentiment in the stock market. Indian market is fifth in the world by market capitalization. So as GDP wise, we are fifth. Even the market capitalization wise, we are already fifth. So companies are raising funds from the issuance of bond. Bond we discussed. The bond market is expanding now. So a lot of exports have been done by RBI to expand the bond market. Especially they are focused on the sovereign bonds and the sovereign gold bonds. Sovereign bonds are like the government own bond market. And sovereign gold bonds is to like people in India are craving after the gold. If you tell them not to buy gold, they'll not at all listen. But gold is like a dead investment. It locked the capital. So what's the one of the way out? Moraji Desai banned the gold import. Is that a way out? It has created such an resign. This has to resign because of this step. So of course we can't go back that way. So at least those people who are like intellectually ready to not touch the gold and want to pen paper also ready. So at sovereign gold bond. So it's a money you invest in the bonds which are invested in gold. But then now that gold is pure, secured, and then money is one way unlocked because it's been trading in the market. And so this way, at least those some people don't do this all. Why? Because they want to touch. Touch killers another feel it which is not there in the online. If you buy such type of bonds, at least those who can shift can shift. And other is the green bonds. RBI is also promoting green bonds. Price stabilization fund we already discussed. they have tried, and to some extent it is successful. But then presently farmers are accusing that this all success is at our cost. How? Banning the exports. The typical method government uses the banning the exports, and thereby then slashing the prices and controlling the inflation. And like, so whenever the interest of a consumer and a farmer clash, government focuses on consumer and sacrifice the farmer. Clearly government is doing that way. Why? More than farmer, the consumer is a voter. No? Both are voter, but suppose so they see that consumers' interest are supreme than a farmers. So farmers criticize this all strategy. Price monitoring has been done now continuously. Stockpiles are being focused. Repo rate has been increased in between when the inflation is high. Human resource, they have been term budgets are being presented now instead of only outlay budgets. So outcome based support. Any sector want to money, first show the outcome. Show it evidence based policy. If you show it, then you can get money for next projects. ODF we already discussed. In all this participation, the social security net has been tried to build in this social safety net. Health Jana Aushadhi Kendras. So 10,000 Jana Aushadhi Kendras are been built up already. Which our medicine is sold there? Generic,
medicals.
which is cheaply available relatively. And so health cost come down for the people then. So 10,000 are open like the 50 to 90% cheaper rate they have been selling. 1 crore beneficiaries of Janani Suraksha Yojana to bring down the maternal mortality rate. We had a Janani Suraksha Yojana, Janani Sushi Suraksha Yojana also going on. Revamped education, expansion of digital learning through the Swayam Prabha. Swayam Prabha, as the name suggests, you can take online courses, and suppose you become graduate from Swayam Prabha. Are you eligible to sit for UPSC MPSC? Yes. No, this is like more advanced than IGNOU or Yeshwantrao Chavan Mukta Vidyapit. There also you can sit. This is no more advanced than that. Swayam Prabha course you took and become graduate, you can sit for any exam. No problem. So that is like completely opening up. Now nobody can take an excuse that no, I can't go there and not able to go through through their whole procedure, and therefore I was not able to graduate. So that can't be excuse. Like you can do any course here only. Swayam Prabha. The 200 channels. MOOC is like a mass online education system. It is like more than 13,000 content produced in the telecast in 31 languages. Then woman-led development. One of the idea in the G20 is a woman-led development. So even that has been focused. Interestingly, Nobel Prize this year is also got to one woman economist for gender studies. Professor Claudia Goldin.
Yes.
Presently, 46% of the elected representative of panchayats are women. While most of the states have now 50% reservation, of course, but some states don't have. Female political representation has helped in the health and primary sector. So long list has been there. So okay, we'll not go into all now. We go through it fully, and overall they have discussed the achievements. They have not talked failure because that's not their work. Maybe their work is to only give the achievements. So between the lines, who you can see, Modi's been there like telling that so much things are achieved. So overall, what we can see is that economy of India is at presently in the boom stage and growing stage. And the way it is going, it may achieve the good growth in the coming times. But one has to be cautious because ultimately all scams happen in the bad times or good times. Good times only, and they later come out in bad times. That is how things happen. Like so, one has to be cautious. Do you have any questions? Okay then, stop then.
ऊपर का पार्ट नहीं है उसमें ऊपर के पेजेस
हाँ वो ताज़ा है।